with the heroes that we do tend to see Luki playing in that off lane. The Mars, we saw the Razor, the Dark, maybe even the Pango if he really wants to, but that's obviously been banned out every game. The Troll just makes it very, very difficult to actually get anything done in the off lane when you are up against a carry like that who can just kill you over and over again. Still Ego Boys for now. They'll show their hand with a position 3 Tidehunter. I hope that's not a position 5 Tidehunter, John. As we saw earlier on, that was not the greatest pick. And Dogchamp, they will go back for a Sand King.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Tano playing that last time. So Dogchamp do get to pick it up this time, more than likely for Luki, but there's some flexibility there, I guess, in the pause for Sand King. Also a possibility. We'll see if Dogchamp leaves it open or starts to lock it in as they're off. Ego Boys, though, looking good with the team fight. You've got Dream Coil, you've got Ravage, you've got the Kick Out, you've got Magnetize on top of that with the Earth Spirits. They are looking pretty tight there. At the least now, Dogchamp does have some way of controlling out with multiple heroes on the Sand King, so they can get some control out as well. The Sand King has a steady time farming up with Sandstorm. There's no Rubik to worry about here yet to steal any spells, so it looks like Dogchamp should have a stable enough time with a Sand King to build on top of now. Of course, you have to remember the Keeper of the Light does have the Will-O-Wisp available if you do manage to farm that item up to grant you the ability, and with the Will-O-Wisp on top, with the Epicenter on top, there are some ways to take team fights now for Dogchamp.
Yeah, absolutely. Ego Boys, though. 4th pick for them. Still lacking a position 5 and still lacking their own safe lane pick. They shall go into the Witch Doctor now. But I think does make it still somewhat difficult, depending on what kind of position 1 they get. The Sand King, you've got the Sandstorm, but as soon as they place a couple sentries down, the level 2 Melodict especially can be extremely painful. Sand King, yeah, you have the Burrow Strike to get away, but you don't really want to expend it just to run. Witch Doctor, quite a lane dominant kind of position 5 to have, and very impactful throughout all stages of the game as well. You get one nice Dream Coil, or if you get a nice Ravage off, pop the Death Ward down, and suddenly you're doing so much damage as a position 5. Dogchamp, we'll see how they want to respond to this. I mean, you have plenty of ways of picking off the Witch Doctor very easily, especially with that Storm up and available, but assuming this Witch Doctor picks up something like a Glimmer Cape, you're probably going to be alright. I don't think really Lisa will be carrying Dust all the time.
There's only so many slots on that Storm. We tend to see Ray Lisa prefers something like Double Null and keeps a wand on handy for pocket mana. So you might run out of space early on, considering the timing of when the Glimmer comes out. And Dogchamp, though, still have to hammer in what they want to do with the Sand King here. Again, it should be the off lane, but you do have room for it on 4. Shift the Keeper of the Light to 5. Want to see a support that, again, gives them a little bit more control on top of what the Sand King has. Not many big options left in the pause 5. Maybe they'll look back to something like, say, the Undying would actually be alright. You've got the Strength here in the Tide. You can kind of drop them low. You can be aggressive in lane. They don't have the best hitters for the Tombstone. Puck could maybe get that done, but if you position your Tombstone right, it can still be really impactful. They do go with the Enchantress instead, so they can get some control out with some Enchanted Creeps. And of course, the Enchantress is very hard to trade against. It's one way to rip through the Tidehunter in that lane as well. You get Impetus level 1, you've got pure damage to fly out. You can kind of force the Tide back a bit more, force the Earth Spirit back a bit more as well. So Dogchamp are looking to strengthen their lanes, and the Enchantress does kind of give them that strength in those lanes now.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a really nice Enchantress pickup, but the one thing I do fear for the Enchantress is if you get rolled on by the Earth Spirit into a gush, you are pretty squishy. And of course, Untouchable is now your ultimate, so you're going to have to wait till level 6 to have that up. So in theory, she should dominate the safe lane for Dogchamp, but there is still pick-off potential with this dual lane of Earth Spirit Tidehunter if she does get rolled on. Regardless of that, though, we're going to wait for these last pickups now, as we do have some more bans to come out. Dogchamp. Get rid of the Jug and the Monkey. And they will go for the final pickup, which is the Wraith King. John, is it just me, or is Dogchamp missing a ban?
Yes, they ran out of reserve time.
Okay.
So I think they skipped the ban. But, probably not on purpose. I think they so they had to rush into the Raid King here. Don't have to worry about the AM, of course. Don't have to worry about anything yet to drain the mana. And does give them some good push with Enchantress Raid King. They've got some good sustain on hand. And can play a bit more active this time around for creep. He doesn't need to just sit back and farm. Depending, maybe he goes for the Radiance build, which does take some initial farm. But once you do have the Radiance, you will just start to run up, apply that pressure. Ego Boys, looking for their own pickup. They could easily opt for something like the PL. I mean, there's no real illusion clear here from Ego Boys. I guess the Storm has some AoE. The Sand King could deal with some illusion spam, but PL also has ways of dodging that out if they want to. And of course, a natural diffusal carrier makes it hard for the Raid King until he gets his Ag Shard up to sustain in the middle of these fights. They go with a PA instead, so they just want some burst damage on hand. PA plus Witch Doctor is very deadly. You get the Maledict off, you jump in, get a crit, you're probably dead. And it plays really nicely with a Tide. Gush minus armor is not something you tend to think about, but that does give the PA an easier time to rip into these heroes. And of course, the PA does build into Battle Fury, which gives you a way of clearing out those enchanted creeps and the summoned skeletons here.
Yeah, I like the PA pickup. I think it's going to make it very hard for the Wraith King to actually get the damage output out throughout these team fights. Of course, Wraith King not really a natural MKB carrier either. Maybe a Divine later down the line if you really want, but Creep, maybe he picks up an MKB, but it just doesn't seem favorable when you're playing Wraith King. We'll see what he does decide to do. They still have plenty of magic damage anyway, with the Coddle, with the Sand King. You can still burst down the PA, especially if Rayla Lisa does end up getting an early Orchid pickup on the Storm, as he generally does. Still with these drafts over, John, which one do you favor going into this game number 2?
I think I'd actually still favor Ego Boys here. I think this is a pretty good PA game for the reasons you pointed out. Like, just the Jur build you have from Evasion is going to be big. They've got this Tide Hunter that's very stable in the off lane. The Wraith King might not care too much about it, although it should. You're still not going to be able to shut that Tide Hunter down completely as well. For Dog Champ, they're going to be banking on Rayla Lisa hitting those same timings we tend to see from him. Woody Orchid, so we're going to have to see if he does get that free run down mid. They almost always are prepared for it on Ego Boys, though. They just let that slide through, so they know the matchup is there. Alone is on the puck. And you can see Alone giving a hi again to Luki, just being very friendly.
Poppy Alone. Well, they love each other. Well, that's nice. Good to see a bit of love in the old chat. Tips being exchanged.
Yeah. Definitely nice. You know what else is nice, Mike?
What's that, John?
Dougie's birthday. Happy birthday, Dougie. Once again.
How could I forget? Happy
reminding
birthday, Dougie. How could we forget?
You know, he's turning into our own. He's turning into our own My Pro Dota 10.
True. That is very. I was actually.
Except no one's all chatting it. No one's all chatting it, so I'm disappointed.
True. Very, very true.
And well, since we mentioned him, I might as well say happy birthday to My Pro Dota 10 as well. Every day is his birthday.
Yeah, absolutely, John. Dog Champ versus Ego Boys. I mean, I agree with you on the draft as well. I think Ego Boys do have an advantage going into this matchup. Just based off draft. Could go either way. I definitely think Dog Champ's draft is better than last game. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Should be
it's an improvement.
Yeah.
It definitely does. It definitely should be. They've got more control to play with. They've got better timings lining up from their safe and off lane now. And Luki doesn't just static link and run away. This time he can jump in, he can get some damage off with Burrow Strike, he can Sandstorm in the middle, he can clear out waves with a Sandstorm as well, clear out camps. So much more stable time finding that farm. And Yaren has room to really start to build in. If he gets the Ag Scepter up, Will-O-Wisp is going to be there on top for the team fights. So there's some opportunities here for Dog Champ. We'll see if they will find those opportunities. It looks like Ego Boys are going to go for that same clump up bot and try to see if they can get something. They don't have as many stunts as before, but they do have Cask, which does punish an opposing clump up, so they might be able to still find something here.
Perhaps. On another note, John, I've got to say, and I've been thinking of this ever since the shards came out in the first place, but this Sand King shard, it needs to be buffed, man. It needs to be changed completely. It's just so So meh.
Yeah. That's like what, 130 damage max level, one
And you've got
pulse?
to walk for it. It's not like it's every second or 2 seconds. It's like, no,
No.
what is it, like 700 units or something? No.
Yep.
Yeah, 700
That's
units. You
way
got to
too
move.
far. Yeah, that's way too far. I think if you dropped it down to maybe 500 units or say even less, 400 units or 350. I think 350 sounds nice, but that might be a bit too much. 500. Let's be fair. 500 units down. Maybe there's value. I don't know. I've never seen anyone pick it up. It's kind of memey. You know,
I
it's
see it
kind of weird.
occasionally, but it really is a matter of like you've got to be destroying the other team. And then it's like, yeah, I'll just take the shards. Why not? You know.
I mean, I guess if you think about the value it gives, like one epicenter pulse does give you movement slow and attack slow, and the duration's 3 seconds for one pulse. So in terms of chasing heroes down, yeah, it's nice. It's just that, as you mentioned, you only pick it up when you're already winning to win harder. It's not something you pick up preemptively. So I don't know about that as a pickup for Luki this game. However, Luki does have Yaren around in his lane. The Sand King and Keeper of Light combination can be pretty devastating. You get Sandstorm off, you get Illuminate off. It's going to be hard for Rises to walk up, find the last hits, and this is not necessarily a lane the PA enjoys. She can sit back, farm with Stifling Dagger, but once you get levels up in the Sand King, well, once you've got Caustic and Sandstorm and a level up in your Burrow Strike, it gets dangerous to contest these creeps.
It certainly does. See how Rises deals with this lane. And the Illuminate's going to be very annoying, I'm sure, for this PA, but see if you can just stay safe. Got to avoid getting Burrow Strike by Luki into an Illuminate. Yeah, hell of a lot of damage output. Of course, over in the mid lane, we see Rayla Lisa up against Alone once again. This time around, Alone not going to be playing the Tiny, but rather the Puck. I'd say that's probably even better, though, if I'm honest. The Puck just seems completely broken in the current meta. I'm sure Alone's going to have another nice game on his hands.
Yeah, it's going to be a smooth ride up for him. Rayla Lisa this time, though, is finding equal farm, so it's not as much of a washout in terms of this initial laning phase. Both heroes will want to secure those power runes as they come out. Should be easier for her Puck, considering that she does have a mobility spell. There is a bit of a congestion down top, and Bloody Nine going to have to TP home.
He's going to be alright. No level 2 on Dismar means no roll. And, well, actually, First Blood occurs down towards the bot lane. Kara ends up dying to Yaren, and that's kind of what I talked about, John. You've got to be careful of that Burrow Strike into the Illuminate damage. It's like Yaren was the one who was able to get the last hit off to get the kill, and it never hurts to get First Blood on Keeper of the Light either. You really do enjoy getting that early gold ASAP.
Yeah, it allows Yarn to just build up into a tankier Keeper of the Light, gets you some additional regen, additional items on hand. There's this beautiful combination as well, not just with the stuns out, but once you have Chakra being spammed onto Luki, he's not going to have mana issues. The cooldown is lower in Burrow Strike, so you can find a follow-up in the lane as well.
Off lane, Dismar taking a fair bit of damage there from Bloody Nine, but Tano will kind of just be the wall between the enemy and his support. Meanwhile, bot lane Rises taking a hell of a lot of harassment here from Luki. Another thing we can't really forget about is the Caustic Finale damage, and Luki has got at least one point, and in fact, a great Burrow Strike out, and he does get the kill onto the PA in the end. This lane is really starting to prove to be very, very dominant for Dogchat.
Yeah, they're really working it well. It's good to see more presence in the off lane compared to game one. They're going again.
Yeah, but Bloody Nine top lane's going to be in trouble now as well. Tano able to get the kill. Dismar, very low creep, going to try and chase him down with the stun. Does manage to get the kill. He won't be able to finish off Tano, though. He should be fine. And of course, down at the bot lane, Luki, he got very low on the Sand King, but he does manage to survive.
Yeah, not quite enough damage on the PA. They tried to blink in with a dagger as well, but couldn't manage to clean up Luki. Still, you're really happy about this lane. You've got level 3 up, about to hit 4 in Kara.
Kara's gone. Illuminate flies through. He does pop the Maledict and the stun. They might get Luki in response. Nice little play out from Kara. Understanding he was dead and at least getting a kill for Rises. So ultimately not really that bad. Securing a kill in your PA. Never going to be upset about that.
It's a nice pick-me-up for Rises, considering how slow his lane has gone. He's still having a bit of a decent time, not too far behind a Raid King compared up top, and is still holding that lane steady. The one thing that is a bit of an issue is that Yaren is getting some value here, 9-1, sharing that farm with Luki at 13-4. So our Keeper of Light is going to have a smooth ramp into his own itemization and item timings, which is going to be an issue if you can't really do much about it on the Witch Doctor right now. It does look like they've even forced Rises to be the one to scout around for these power runes with his Blur, and he does go out to buy at least a Ring of Health as well while waiting. Just
I love this.
Camp around a bit.
Level 2 Illuminate. Kara's losing 1/3 of his HP every time. So it's kind of ridiculous how much damage the Keeper of Light does as Lisa being caught out. He does not manage to get the bounty either. Still trying to man fight, does at least kill off Dismar, but he dies before he gets the kill, so not even getting any XP for that. And on top of all that, you lost your Storm and you got tipped by Alone.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing they didn't expect. Like, really, they walk up with the Blur, so Rises just sneaks up. Does cop a lot of damage though.
Creep.
But it's not going to be enough to go down.
Well, Dream Call there from Alone. Tano somehow going to survive. Alone could not get the last hit off, and now Dismar is there to get the follow-up damage. Bloody Nine is going to try and run away and might just make it out, but the orb is now available for Alone. The raindrop will not be enough to save. On top of all that, John, bot lane, they lost Luki again on the Sand King. So things are starting to move the way of the Radiant. Yaren trying to snipe them with the Illuminate, but doesn't quite get anyone.
Yeah, and this is a worrying point for Dogchamp. This kind of early recovery from Eagle Boys, finding these counter kills now, are going to cause issues. Rises is now a level ahead of Luki, which means our PA is still going to be on track for fairly good timing in Battle Fury, considering this kind of laning start. The top lane hasn't been as nice as well, though they're rolling on to Creep.
They are. Creep. He's going to be okay. Meanwhile, down at bot lane, 3 heroes here from Dogchamp trying to just dive the tier 1 tower onto Kara, and it should be a nice, easy kill on the Witch Doctor. Rise is just going to hide on the right side of that tree line. Luki doesn't actually spot him out. Now he does. Rises has help coming in though. Dream Coil is there from Alone, and Rises is able to finish off Luki. Meanwhile, Dismar, nice roll into Bloody Nine. He does have the heal though, and will be able to just leave. But for Rises, 3rd kill of the game on the PA, his farm is really starting to escalate.
Yeah, it's starting to kick into gear, has the power treads flying out, can sustain himself with a Ring of Health, so he can just hold this lane, start to find some farm. Really good TP in from Alone to punish that movement out. This does give some space out to Lisa to just farm in the jungle uncontested, and he's about halfway through to his Orchid at least, so you're starting to see some progression here for Dogchamp. They do hold a slight net worth lead. Most of that is riding on their Storm at the moment. The rest of their cores have taken hits.
Maledict is there on the Sand King. They don't have detection though. Yaren with the Sentry Ward getting the D Ward off. It's going to mean Luki does survive. By the way, John, as you were speaking about Lisa, I realized he got another Fairy's Trinket.
Excellent. Just every single time, finds the right neutral item. Unfortunately, it's not helping his cause that much. Like, he is top of net worth, but only by about 100 gold. He's been dipping in the jungle, not showing as much in lane. Alone is still keeping up fairly well, considering that Alone has rotated much more than Lisa has. And if you look at the wards here from Eagle Boys, they're just keeping constant track of that.
Luki is being recalled by Yaren, not sure about that. Now Dreamcore is there from Alone, onto 2 heroes underneath the tier 2 tower, and Rises is not dead. Bloody Nine is trying to kill him off. Impetus is not going to be enough. 15 HP. Lisa is going to zip through past the tier 1. Can he find him? He needs a hit, but Rises is juking him out. He finally finds him out, but it's going to cost him his life. It's not really that bad for Ego Boys to lose the PA there. They get the mid-storm anyway.
Yeah, it's a huge sacrifice from Dogchamp. 4 for 2. 4 for 1, actually, in the end there, going the way of Eagle Boys and Dogchamp. They lose that slight lead they had. Their Storm was #1 for them. Dropping the Storm gives a massive swing the way of Eagle Boys. Everyone else on the side of Dogchamp is still suffering. Like, you look at Creep, up top, and he's had some space to farm for himself, but he's under
you
threat
cursed
now.
him, John. You've cursed him. He levels up the reincarnate. He'll turn back around, but he is certainly going to lose that first life. He probably won't lose the second, though. That Bloody Knight's going to try and heal him up, but there's no way in hell. Enchantress heal is arguably the worst heal in the game. I say arguably, it's definitely the worst heal in the game. Don't you dare.
It's situationally good. It doesn't scale well at level 1. As you max it out, it's very nice mid-game, because it's a non-committal heal. You pop it on, you don't drain mana like the other heals, although Bloody 9...
Oh, fly through. Everything connects.
That's for your impertinence.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in the mid-game, it can be pretty annoying to get through the Enchantress HP pool with the heal, but in terms of helping anyone else, it doesn't do anything. Like, it's just for yourself.
Nah, it helps enough if you're full. The issue is if you're not full, then yeah, that's the split up in the heal. It's really not ideal. Level 1 of it is really bad though. It's among the worst of level 1. Although, you could argue Witch Doctor's level 1 mana drain for the heal is not amazing as well. But it's a moot point. They are going to shove in the top lane now on the side of Eagle Boy. They still hold onto the Ravage from Tano. Like, he has not popped it yet. There's always the threat of a Ravage as well if they come in for the defense, which does mean Dogchamp gonna set their eyes and just building this farm up. They've got creep in the jungle, but there's a smoke play here from Eagle Boys.
Dream Coil is nice. They know he doesn't have the reincarnation and the kick to the low ground to break the coil, but Creep is still alive. He has the Wraith Fire Blast, and now a Blinding Light's gonna be there from Yaren. They'll help the Wraith King survive another day. Maybe that kick was kind of detrimental.
Yeah, I think this more realizes it. Bit of a misplay, but you know it's one that they wanted to risk. They wanted to get the break on the leash, and does end up biting him in the bum. So Dogchamp can be happy enough, wasting a couple of spells and getting Creep out alive without the reincarnation. So a bit of a blessing for them. Still, they're trying to find this farm catch-up. Luki is getting some space out for himself now. Very close to the blink on the Sand King. Just about 500 gold off. Once you have this blink on Luki, the Sand King can start to set up for your fights. You can start to jump in, stall out for this Wraith King who's still farming up for the Radiance Rush. And Creep is still set to have it at a pretty decent point, considering his lane up top was heavily contested. Not too far behind Rises, although that gap will grow as the Battle Fury flies in here for the PA.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Radiance timing for Wraith Kings, I think it is going to be a little bit slower than what you would hope. But definitely, he did have a very tough lane. In fact, he goes for the armlet. He just accepts the fact that the Radiance is going to be a bit too late. Needs a bit more. And I suppose the armlet does give you a bit more survivability and a bit more damage. I doubt he wants to fight. So he probably is just going to try and use that armlet to survive and just farm a bit faster.
Yeah, I do like that pickup though. Like, if ever you need to be aggressive, the armlet allows you to get some value out from your life as well. Although down mid, they are trying to pressure. Tano's just standing in front, still has the Ravage, has the Hood of Defiance, so it's not very easy here to kind of pick off here.
No, he's not. Creep and Luki in the Radiant jungle. You have Epicenter there from Luki if you want to commit. Doesn't have any kind of initiation like a blink yet, but he's about 30 gold off. Definitely doesn't want to die before he has that out. Kara did spot him out for a second. Yaren, the McCabe. Dream Coil is on target. Still zip in. Raider Lisa, he's got the silence, he's got the puck, but the Yules is going to save the day for now. Meanwhile, Tano does jump in and has the Ravage, but he won't commit yet as alone. He is dropping, but will be able to orb away. Creep going back after Kara, but he's also going to be able to walk out. But no, the Burrow Strike is there from Luki. Still Kara will finally go down, and Tano never got the Ravage out. He's still walking away just fine. He could still turn this one around, and he does commit now, but the armlet toggle there from the Wraith King, keeping Creep alive, and he will get Tano. He will not lose the reincarnation life either, as they found the Earth Spirit to boot. And now he loses that first life, but it kind of just works out for them. But that was a nice magnetize, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, you're still happy if you're dog champles. Though, they're coming in for the defense.
Yeah, this might not work out for Creep. He's going in very confidently, but Alone is going to be there to punish. I guess he just accepts the gold, but that's going to be 30 seconds off the map, and it's not going to be a great feeling. In fact, they found out Yaren as well. Rises is just around to try and secure the kill for himself, but Alone will take it.
Will you not rise in my presence?
15 minutes in. Still looking pretty darn good for Ego Boys, even with the net worth advantage going Dogchamp's way.
Yeah, a lot of that gold on Dogchamp is riding on Rayla Lisa once more. The Orchid is up in her Storm, so there's an opportunity now for Rayla Lisa to be more active on the map if he wants to be. Saving up for the ults next, so just making sure he's not going to be silenced up in the middle of these fights is always nice. However, they have given up a lot of space to Rises. Number 2 in net worth, lagging behind by a bit, but that gap should narrow as the Battle of Fury farming efficiency starts kicking in. And this is the big worry that you have to pay attention to if you're Dogchamp. You're just not farming as fast in the Raid King with that armlet to really ignore a PA like this. You're just not matching up in farm. You have to be aware that Rises needs to be found and taken out sooner rather than later.
He's going to go straight for the BKB, and once it's up, he can just join his team. Tano will have the Ravage up in 35 seconds, and once that's available, you could kind of expect another group up here from Ego Boys. For now, they'll just chill. Kara. It's been caught by Creep, but he's going to be able to walk away.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Creep still just trying to get that Sacred Relic into the Radiance. Looking like a 20-minute plus timing now. In all fairness, he hasn't got the most space in the world in this Raid King. Everywhere just seems like a very dangerous position for him right now. He's going to move his way back to the triangle instead.
They're just prioritizing Rayla Lisa over everyone else, although...
Spot lane. Smart. It's okay. Inhibitor shot not going to be enough. Now Bloody Nine being caught out along with Yaren. The roll back in with the Magnetize, and Dismar on a slither of HP is going to be able to survive even through the Illuminate. And Rayla Lisa, no mana left. He got ravaged. It's like Luki does manage to at least kill Dismar, but Rayla Lisa surely does not make it out of this. Creep's trying to help him. Stun is there. He's going to die. Epicenter, Luki, he'll cancel it off.
That's a lot of heroes dropping, and losing Rayla Lisa like that is never good news. Again, they've invested heavily on Storm. They've sort of sacrificed their farm on Creep to get that space out for Rayla Lisa. So dropping there is not the best feeling in the world. Eagle Boys are just playing as 3-4. They're still giving this constant space out to Rises. His BKB is almost done. And once you've got that BKB on the PA, the Orchid from the Storm does not matter at all. The stuns in Raid King won't matter as well, and the damage from Luki as well. It's not going to do a thing.
Morrow, mid lane, not going to connect on Alone, and Yaren is a bit of a sitting duck now. Epicenter being channeled. Tano doesn't really care for the damage. Just hardly takes any. I think it'll be enough. Or will it? Alone has the Dream Call if he wants to try and fight again, but looks like both sides are going to accept the fact that the team fight is over now. I say that.
Smoke.
Yeah, Dogchamp have smoked again. There's no Ravage. They know that. They can run right into Rises. It's a big pick-off. Silence is there. Dismar will return the silence back towards Rayla Lisa, but there's your Burrow Strike in the Illuminate as well. Rises is still alive, though. They zip back in. They'll get the kill, and they'll find Dismar as well. Nice smoke out from Dogchamp, really paying off.
Yeah, they kill off the most important hero this time on Ego Boy, so the investment in PA just kind of turning against him. They are trying to jump in. Tano is by himself.
He is by himself, but he's a tanky boy. He's just going to be perfectly fine. They don't have the damage to kill the Tide right now. Even with that death, the PA is still sitting at the top of the net worth board. So it's going to slow him down a little bit, but he's still just perfectly fine. Still kind of waiting for Creep to catch up, and in all fairness to Creep, he is getting very, very close now to that Radiance. Has the Sacred Relic coming out on the Courier, and just needs a recipe now. And once the Radiance is there, you might just want to group up with your team and start trying to go for some more fights.
Yeah, that's the big timer for Creep to hit. Once he has the Radiance to constant burn, it's going to be painful for the PA. As we mentioned, the PA doesn't like fighting into evasion herself, so it could make it hard to get some hits off, although.
Bot lane, Kara does die, but now Lisa again out of mana and was silenced up, but a great burrow strike in from Lukey, connecting onto 2. Dismar's going to be targeted, and so will Alone. They will epicenter just in case. In fact, now from the north, they do get a nice ravage off. There goes Lukey, and there goes Lisa. Rise is looking for a big, big cleanup. And Bloody Nine will be the next target on his list as he gets a triple kill. Yaren looks like he's going to be the only one to get out of there. That was a very nice situation for Rises. He got every kill on the way out. Got all the golden XP for himself.
And that does give him his BKB as well, flying out right now onto the PA. Once you have that spell immunity, the Orchid's not going to do much. The silence, the control, the stuns out won't stop the PA from getting the damage off. And this is going to be an issue here for Dogchamp. Like, the Radiance is probably going to line up here for Creep, just about 300 gold off from the recipe. So you're going to have that BKB up against the Radiance timing. I think the BKB is going to be a bit more impactful up against the line of a Dogchamp, though. So they might have to go back to the drawing board. They're still saving up for the BKB of Lisa as well. Does opt to not go for the Bloodtorrent upgrade, which we saw him queue up earlier on. So it's just the straight BKB to stand and fight, which is fair enough. There is no Ravage here from the side of Ego Boys, but they do smoke up. There is a scan, though.
There is. They may assume they're in the Roshan pit, though. That's the thing. And Bloody Nine, well, he'll break the smoke of Kara. And that's going to kind of ruin the rotation now from Ego Boys. So they ain't going to go much further. Bloody Nine also scouts out the Roshan with his dominated creep, just to make sure. Meanwhile, Rises, split pushes to the top lane, tries to force a rotation back. They're still going to try and force a fight here. Dismar jumping right in onto that Enchantress. That'll be him gone. The Bloody Nine buys back, and Lukey, a nice burrow strike means Kara's going to die, and Dismar's in big, big trouble, but Alone. A great dream call out. It just may not matter, or maybe it will. Lisa dropping low and does die. Lukey is also extremely low, but he's going to be able to get out for now. They do kill off the Tide. Meanwhile, Rise is still going on that PA, happily killing Yaren off with a triple kill on the Phantom Assassin. But can he get himself out? Oh. They do get him in the end. And that's a full team wipe now for Dogchamp.
Ooh, that's a massive swing away of Dogchamp now. Just finding the angles, forcing the overextension from Ego Boys. A bit of a deep movement out, really, from Rises. That caused his team to have to go into that jungle after the smoke broke. And causes the Roche to be opened up here for Dogchamp. They're going to be fighting into Epicenter potentially, but they do have Ravage here once the respawn's on the Tide.
Roshan's going to mean a hell of a lot, though, for Dogchamp. Ego, they definitely don't want to allow this to happen. You've got the Earth Spirit, so you have some still potential. You need vision. In fact, Lukey, he's going to jump in preemptively straight onto Kara, but the roll and Death Ward is there, and Lukey might just die to the Melody. Roshan as well, still happening. The roll in from Dismar, a little bit too early, but Lisa, he's very low on HP. He is going to drop, and the Earth Spirit is still going to survive. Dismar, Ravage is out, but everyone's out of the pit. The Coconut, Creep, he still gets the Aegis. He snatches it away. Will turn back around onto Tano. He's going to lose his first light. The buyback will be out from Lukey. They're going to try and re-engage now. Onto the puck they go. They do manage to get him. That'll make the buyback somewhat worth it here for Lukey. That's a very, very close call for Dogchamp. Almost losing that Aegis. They did lose the Roshan kill, mind you. The gold went to Ego Boys, but they got what was important.
Yeah, I mean, they hold on to it. It gives them time with Reincarnation still waiting to refresh for them to come back in. And, I mean, the Aegis did pop because Reincarnation was down. So, immediately expended, but not too bad for Dogchamp. They still keep themselves in the slight net worth lead. Eagle Boys now again have to wait for the next Ravage. They've got some time to build up. I think the Desolator for RPA is pretty much flying out into the Basher. So slowly but surely, Rises is becoming a big issue in the front lines, but the itemization of Creep is kind of built to handle that. AC being built up by Creep just to tank up on armor, and with more armor, the Raid King's just very hard to really man up against as the PA.
Very even matchup here. Net worth lead is just basically gone now. Just a very even game. Mid lane, Luki has a haste rune. Feels confident to just Burrow Strike, but Dusted Up is still going to be able to blink away in time. 29 and Creep showing themselves as well. There's your Wraith Fire Blast being expended with the follow-up stuns, but now the roll back in from Dismar with Rises just jumping in on the PA. But who are they going to go for? It's going to be Dismar, Dogchamp. They'll get the first kill. Creep looking for another. Kara going to Glimmer Cape, avoid the stun, but the Burrow Strike there from Luki. Luki is not going to mean too much because Rises, he had the BKB and he just pops it to avoid all the damage from the epicenter. Now taking out the Reincarnation Light. They get Luki, but Ray Lisa trying to jump back in, but he's out of mana. He'll zip away with the Chakra Magic, but Rises right back in onto Bloody 9. We'll kill off another, and now Creep. He's only got one life, and it's not going to last long either. Rises will get a double kill, and they even found Yaren. It might be a triple. Tano will take that one. But a 4-hero wipe, the only person to survive was Rayla Lisa. And the only reason he did survive is Yaren got Chakra Magic off onto him before he got jumped on.
Yeah, and that's a last-minute save on Dogchamp, which is great, and he goes in.
Might find a kill, but the Yules is going to be out onto Dismar and going to purge off the silence, not allow that bonus damage to tick in.
Silence.
Seems as though the Radiant now are well and truly in control of this game.
Yeah, I mean, they only have a 1k lead, which is still not significant in terms of net worth. The game has been fairly even, but in terms of control, you're seeing Eagle Boys once again pick up the pace. The Raid King Creep just not having enough just yet to withstand the hits from Rises now. And Rises, I believe, is flying out the Basher. So with a Basher and a PA, it's even harder to stand and fight up against that PA as a Raid King. And they even go in, Rayla Lisa.
Coil is there, Rayla Lisa gonna just stand his ground, but Dismar is there to try and help out. Still couldn't get the kick away through the coil. He'll pop the Magnetize, but he did miss the silence earlier on. So he couldn't really hold down the spirit. Instead, alone, gonna go for a shotgun blast onto the Sand King, but Epicenter gonna be cancelled with the Yules of Dismar, and they're just gonna hold him down and perma-stun him. It'll be Luki gone. Of course, Rises comes in at the last second to make sure they get the kill, of course.
Yeah, you want that kill in the PA anyway, to rush up into the next items here. And Rises is just so confident, stands in front of everyone by himself, and it's not really much they can do. They knock him back, slow him down, but they don't have the opening to really jump in. Rayla Lisa is still a bit too far out for the zip in as well. They are going into armor here in Dogchamp's end, so the AC is almost done. For the side of Creep. Just waiting for the recipe to be finished up. The Shiva's being built here by Rayla Lisa. So once you do have that durability on hand, at the least you're not going to get critted out for, say, 1,200 damage anymore. And will take a little bit more time for Rises to get the damage off. But this PA is still looking stronger and stronger as the game goes on. Has the option to go for the Abyssal next. So you're going to have that guaranteed stun now. And that just makes it so much harder for Dogchamp to try to get dead center in these fights. There is a Ravage ready to go here on Eagle Boys. So they could look to force a bigger fight now.
Oh, Dream Coil, that's a big target in the mid lane. He's got one life. Then he can just let go. It's like Creep, not gonna die yet. Dismar. Spotted danger. Rises trying to find a target. Will turn back around onto Luki. Luki just crits him to death. One hit will do it. They also lost that reincarnation life on Creep, but he's going to be able to TP away. And Dogchamp are just trying to leave the area. I've already lost their Sand King, and that'll be enough for them. They will have to lose their outpost as well. And maybe even a tier 2 tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, and they don't have the option to defend, not without the epicenter on Luki Luki. They could try with a few zips from Ray Lisa, and the beauty of the storm is that you can wave clear well from your base. So they can stall this one out until the respawn's up. It's fairly short respawns on hand, although Rises is still hunting.
You've got that reincarnation life back up, so Creep shouldn't be too afraid. Definitely doesn't want to get caught out if you can avoid it, though. I think for Rises, I mean, you're so close to the Abyssal now, you may as well just go ahead and finish it off. That's exactly what he will do. But they are going to make a chase onto the puck now. Ray Lisa gets the Orchid, and you do have the follow-up burrow. Nice play there from Dogchamp. The mid lane, Creep, he's not too afraid. It's only a Tide Hunter. Gonna be just fine.
It's going to be harder to force these fights without the puck. The Dream Coil is one of your main pieces of control at the start, although Creep...
Rise is going to jump in, hoping for a nice big crit, but he's not getting anything quite yet. It's Creep, he will survive. Yara now has the side device up. A Bloodthorn even on the Storm, but they'll blow up Luki Luki again. Creep still wanting to fight this one out though, does go back in with Ray Lisa now onto the PA, and it looks like Rises is dropping low, but not low enough. He's still alive and still survives. Oh, Rises, he just won't go down. With this BKB, he continues to fight. Bloody Knight's about to drop the bash on the dagger for the Wraith King. And Dismar will continue rolling away as they get another, the Keeper of the Light, to go down. And, well, Creep's the only one left. And Rises, with the BKB chance, just would not die.
That was really on the edge for the BKB use, though. He was at really low HP when he popped it on. I love seeing this from Rises. He went for the level 20 evasion talent. This is just so much more value than the armor corruption. Like, now, when the Bloodthorn's not up, and when you're not hit by that active, there's nothing that stops you. Physical damage out from the Wraith King, not gonna hit. Impetus, not gonna hit. The only thing you have is magic damage, and, well, you pop the BKB on, nothing will stop you.
Oh, Luki misses that Burrow Strike. Wouldn't have led to much anyway. Abyssal Blade on the Courier now for Rises. This is a guaranteed tier 3 and more than likely a guaranteed bot rats. And if they want to force another team fight on the Dire base, it could be GG. So the buybacks just isn't there right now for Dogchamp. But they're going to go back to that mid tier 2 first. They should have seen the Abyssal Blade on Rises as well, so they're well aware of that item now. Looks like that's going to be enough.
Yeah, I mean, they've got control of the map. They know they've kind of forced the situation on Dogchamp to play on the high ground, which means that your Wraith King's not going to be able to farm up as fast. The AC is helping him out, but you can't get any damage out as a Wraith King at this game. They do get a good scan out onto Ray Lisa. They just don't have the wards, but they might be able to find him still.
He's going to sit all the way across the map where Kara was, but just a Witch Doctor. Can't really do much by himself. Still, now that Ray Lisa has no mana, you could try for the Roshan, but instead, Rise is going to go for the kill onto Bloody Nine. Does use his Abyssal Blade, get a nice kill. In fact, he wants a bit more. But Luki and Yaren are going to be able to remove themselves from this situation. I still think you just go back for the Roshan now.
Yeah, it's not much left to contest. I mean, they've got Epicenter, they've got this burrow out if they want to. They need to make their way down there fast, as the Rosh is not going to last long at all. And it looks like Dogchamp is just not aware.
Buy back on Bloody Nine, but it's way too late. There's your scan out, but it means nothing. This is a very awkward buyback for Dogchamp, and they're going to smoke and try to make something out of this, but the bright side for them, Rises does TP away, so if they did take a team fight, the PA is not around. He's coming in, Bloody Nine, in a very awkward position now. If this smoke breaks, he's almost guaranteed to just die instantly. And that'll be a dieback on the Enchantress if he does.
It's going to be one hero short for the high ground defense. On the bright side, I mean, the Enchantress doesn't do too much in the high ground anyway at this point in the game. So you're not losing too much if Bloody Nine does fall, and only Bloody Nine falls. If another hero falls with Bloody Nine, then you're just kind of bleeding out one by one, which is not ideal here for the side of Dogchamp. Ego Boys, though, I gotta say, I'm looking at Rises. He's still using that Elven Tunic. So he's got the talent for evasion. He's got the Tunic up as well with an additional 16%, which ends up being 84% evasion. Like
Oh,
that's like 16% chance to hit.
cool.
Basically as much as he. I mean, Creep just can't hit. He's saving up for his MKB because he realizes this Bloodthorn is just not enough. Simply not enough. When the BKB goes off, you have no option
Is
as the
it
Wraith
not?
King. So you can live through some hits, but it doesn't do anything.
Is it not about that time you just go divine though? Like you're 33 minutes in, the MKB at minimum is going to take another couple minutes, assuming you have the space to farm, which you don't. I don't know. It feels like you go divine or you just don't go MKB at all. It's
Yeah, that's a fair point. You're a Wraith King anyway. You've got 2 lives, so you have a bailout if you can.
Yaren, smoke broken, roll in. Tano is there with the gush, and they are not going to save Yaren. They'll let him die. Of course, Dismar wants to go for a bit more and does spot out Luki, who does Burrow Strike to the low ground, but the roll is going to connect with the dust out. Luki going to try and Yules and TP away, but no, they have the Yules to give back to him. No way out for the Sand King, and he is going to die mid-Burrow Strike. He does have buyback, but it's going to be a pretty hard defense, especially without the Keeper of the Light for another 35 seconds. However, maybe this Rises might just lose his Aegis, and he does. Alright,
Oh, God.
that helps.
Just running into the high ground without the rest of his team. Doesn't mean the Aegis is gone. They still have a cheese on hand on Tano, and they do have Ravage. So after blowing a couple of those spells, it's going to be risky walking back up here, especially if Tano gets a good Ravage off.
Fun fact, John, if Rises crits Bloody Nine once, he is dead instantly. So his HP pool is not enough to survive a crit. So, I mean, maybe with some armor by the towers, maybe it'll be just enough, but for now, Bloody Nine has to be very, very cautious about those daggers flying out. They do get the mid-racks, of course. 2 racks is up now for Ego Boys. Creep, mid lane, still sticking around. Rises is there, roll in, is going to land very nicely from Dismar. Now Rises with the Abyssal Blade kills off Rayna Lisa. And they're going to get straight onto the Wraith King, but a nice epicenter, but there's your Ravage out now from Tano. The control is there. They'll kill off another in the form of Luki. Just a moment. We're in a 3v5 scenario. Luki has buyback. Rayna Lisa, he did not TP out. Desma knows as well. He's trying to heal up some mana here, but it's looking pretty darn awkward. He's gone. No buyback
no
on the
buybacks.
Storm. That might just be it.
They still have a Wraith King, I guess. He can stand and fight, but without the backup of his Storm or the Sand King, there's just not enough damage. Like,
John, he's
he
got
can't hit the PA.
84% evasion, John. I'm not sure the Wraith King can do it.
No. He needs that Divine, but he doesn't have enough gold. It's just not going to come out in time. They are at least going to face off Mega Creeps, but there's the buyback.
Okay, Luki's here. Creep will try. Daggers to fly out. Bloody Nine doesn't even take the risk, just goes straight into that ghost form. Luki now in danger as Rises just jumps in and cleans up the Enchantress. And Luki is going to die back, it looks like. As they go on to the Wraith King. No help around for him. He's just a sitting duck.
Ooh,
Does go down and the GG is called. Rayna Lisa has seen enough. And that'll be a 2-0 victory for the side of Ego Boys. And the first 2-0 victory today.
Yeah, just on point with all their plays throughout these 2 games. Dogchamp not finding the opening. They keep going back to this Rayna Lisa Storm, which is a special fist. This is something they love to pick up, but I think a lot of teams understand what to do against it. Like the domination coming from alone in mid again, just delaying Rayna Lisa's timings, the control they have over the runes make it so hard for Rayna Lisa to start snowballing. He still found a pretty good timing on the Orchid. It just wasn't enough. And while Dogchamp was trying to sort those issues with Rayna Lisa, trying to hunt down the top lane instead, pressuring Tano, they left Rises alone for so long. Like they found a couple of movements in with the Illuminate, with a stun, but it just wasn't enough to stop the PA from farming up.
No, it was not, John. With that, though, it does lead us on to our final series of the day. Latam Defenders up against 5-man Midas. We did get to see both these teams yesterday, and we'll get to see them again today for our final series. Should be a fairly interesting one, and of course we are going to have a short 10-minute break, but after that break, we'll be back with our first game draft. Until then, it is MLP Dota and John Expire, and we'll see you again very, very soon. between the Latam defenders and five-man Midas. It's MLP Dota and John X5. John, welcome back, sir. Last series of the day. Are you feeling better than Dougie, who's apparently very, very tired?
Yeah, he had a bit of a slip up. Of course, happy birthday to Mr. Dougie. It's almost over, Dougie. It's fine. We've got a pretty good matchup here to close us out. Latam defenders up against five-man Midas. Lord Boons back in the game. Of course,
Yes.
apparently, I thought he was subbing in, but apparently it's a permanent fixture now for five-man
course.
Midas, so that's going to be interesting to see. I'm playing with someone who's going to have 230 ping regardless of what server it's on. And Latam defenders, of course, they did manage to take a game off of SG Esports when it was on their server, and then they lost the game when SG Esports got the Brazil server. So this time around, I believe it's just going to be on US East. I'm not sure if it's going to shift around, but this one should be a bit more even. I know the connection to US East is a lot better for a lot of South American teams, regardless of what region you're in. So it should be fairly playable, all things considered. We're going to have to see what they open up with, though. We did see a kind of leaning towards more skill shot based heroes like the Mirana. Does slide through for Latam defenders, so they're feeling confident here and going back to these comfort picks for themselves.
It's a very interesting start as well, because you went for the Mirana first pick, and we know that Boons, especially on this ping, will generally like to play Enchantress. One of his specials, if not his best hero. And it's not banned out, but up against the Mirana, you are going to have that arrow to take down the creep that he does enchant. That being said, the creep that you enchant doesn't really matter as much anymore as it used to. Like, it's not as impactful as it used to be in the game. So they could still go down that route, but they are going to pick up the Abaddon instead. So you've already got the natural Dispel there from that Abaddon, and we can already assume it's probably going to be the position 5 pickup. And defenders probably aren't going to be too concerned about that Abaddon pickup. We'll see where they want to go with their own draft and whether they want to run a bit of a combo with the Mirana, because these days we don't really see much of an arrow setup anymore. Generally speaking, Miranas will usually just rush a Yule Scepter themselves, and they'll just set up their own damn arrows. So they don't need anyone else to help them out. They'll just do it themselves.
Yeah, and that brings an interesting point. Will we see Mirana carry a Yule's in the adaptation? I wonder if that will reflect in. I would hope so. We'll see. Still, Latam defenders
I
do
don't
go
think
into
the
the
anime is
Timber
going to
Song.
be going that way. I don't think it's going to be that realistic.
I wish it did. Like she's just carrying out her Yule's, just in case she can get her arrows off.
Yeah,
But
it's
she's
going to
supposed to be an expert marksman, right? So I guess that shouldn't show.
It's
in
gonna
the
be
anime.
it's gonna look really cool to the people that have no idea what a Yule's is and never played Dota.
It's
And they see Mirana's creating a tornado with some weird looking
yes.
staff. It's gonna look very, very good for them. Five-man Midas, they go for the Ursula into the Timber Store. Fair enough. Obviously a direct
Yeah.
counter towards the Timber. Very nice pickup.
This one goes back and forth, right? Like there's a lot of ripping through the Timbersaw can do early on, but Ursa just enjoys slapping tanky heroes like that, so you can punish the Timbersaw for going a bit too far out, get the Fury swipes off, and Timbersaw's tankiness just disappears. So it's a back and forth one. I'd say Timbersaw has a good time early. By mid-game, that advantage sort of disappears. You still don't see the setup for the Mirana here as well. It's not like they picked a Mars that you can just easily follow up from the Spear. There's nothing the Timbersaw can really do for you apart from maybe the Chakram slow. So not a straightforward Mirana game just yet. Have to say for five-man Midas, Ursa plus Abaddon in a lane, it is dual melee, but it's also a very scary lane because of how, sort of mobile the Ursa can be now with the jump. And with the Aphotic Shield on, with a heal coming out from the Abaddon, the Ursa should have a steady time controlling that lane against the Timbersaw early on anyway. So you kind of mitigate some of the weaknesses of Ursa versus Timb very early on with that Abaddon pick.
You know, I never liked the way you've called Timbersaw Timb, John. It sounds so unnatural. Like, you could say Tim, but you say Timb with a B at the end to really pronunciate the fact that you're talking about Timbersaw. And it's very unnecessary, John.
Don't most people say Timb?
No,
Do they not?
I've never
Really?
heard anyone else but you say that.
I thought, maybe
We-
Southeast Asians do.
We say timber
Maybe.
because it's just an extra syllable.
But
not-
but then it's like long enough that you might as well say timber saw, right? Like it's almost moot just removing the saw at that point. If you stop at Timb, it's nice and compact and rolls off the tongue with a hard B at the end. You know,
Thank
I
you
know.
for that, John.
that's just my take. I know. I seriously thought people say Timb. I didn't know it was not as common
If
as
you
it once
say
thought.
Timb, please tell us in the chat if you do say Timb. I've literally never heard anyone but you say it. So I'm pretty sure everyone's going to agree with me on this one, John, but we'll see. You never know. Maybe there's some real sickos out there like you. 5-man Midas. Their final ban out before we get to see some more picks coming up. What do you want to ban out? They got rid of the Ember, they got rid of the Weaver. Just any hero that can kind of kite around the Ursa and just be annoying.
Yeah. They've already taken out the Void Spirit and Latam Defender's End, so you're still lacking that straightforward Mirana setup. The Mars has been left in the pool, but there's not much room for Latam to pick that up themselves, so we could see 5-man Midas go for the Mars themselves if they want some team fight on. Kind of wonky into Timbersauce, Trent Hero into Timbersauce, never the best of times, and your durability does come out from Bulwark, which Timbersaw doesn't care for, so probably not the best time for the Mars unless they really want to pull off a combo with it here for 5-man Midas and force a specific core pickup from Latam Defenders. Something like the Jug is still in the pool if the Mars does come out, so there's some counterplay left for Latam Defenders if the Mars does get picked up for 5-man Midas, and could just be ignored as well. They go into the Storm, which is honestly pretty good here. Like, Mirana Timbersaw don't have control for a Storm, at least not until the Yule's Arrow comes into play, and even that can be tricky if the Storm's fast enough to zip away. So it's actually looking like a pretty solid Storm game here for 5-man Midas.
For now, anyway. I mean, you've got 3 more picks to come out from Latam Defenders, so there's plenty of time if they do feel like they need a proper setup. You do still have heroes that can lock down the Storm, but we'll see what they do opt for. I suppose at least you've kind of already got the offlane locked in for Latam Defenders now, so you know there's nothing like a hard stun like a Beastmaster or Legion Commander that's going to come out. Beastmaster was banned anyway, so that wasn't really a possibility, but you get my point. I suppose it could still happen in the mid lane. You don't really have anything like a Puck either, because that was also banned out by 5-man Midas. Latam, they are going to go for the Lion. How could we forget? That hero was coming out a lot yesterday during the first day of BTS Pro Series Season 5. Makes its appearance once again. I'm going to say, if any hero needs a bit of love, and I don't mean cosmetics, I mean a complete, like, proper remodel, I think it's this hero, because it just looks so... I don't want to say ugly, because that sounds insensitive, but it just...
Oh, no, he's ugly. No. He's ugly. That's the entire point of Lion. Look at his proportions. Look at how long his arms are. It's proportionally wrong. His legs are too stumpy. His torso is way too big. Of course, these models were designed for top-down view, so isometric view is made for that, I suppose, which means it's not as much of an issue. But the Lion's supposed to be disgusting, I guess, which kind of makes sense. If you look at the size, compare his size to Timbersaw, look at how tiny Timbersaw is scaled down. It's like Lion's bigger than this guy in a mechanical suit. You know, it's no wonder Timbersaw is scared of trees. Still, you know, Lion into Storm, there's the Hex, there's the stun, a little bit of arrow setup now as well for the Mirana, so you can follow up after the Earth Spike comes in. 5-man Midas do pick up the Rubik, a lot of good spells to steal. Mirana's kit is great, Lion's kit is even better, and you're more than likely just going to snag either the Hex or the Earth Spike coming out, so there is a lot that the Rubik can get done here, and it should set up for a good time. Like, you've got a lot of ways to protect the Storm with the Abaddon. You've got Rubik to steal some good spells. Latam Defenders do go all in on the PA, so PA into Ursa. It's actually pretty okay for the PA. Ursa will have to build the MKB. That's not something we see Ursas tend to naturally opt for. So it's going to be a bit of a diversion here for the Ursa to build into that item to deal with PA, unless our Storm does go for that Bloodtorn. But we have seen issues with Bloodtorn up against a BKB on the PA, so a bit of back and forth there.
Yeah, not to mention the Lotus Orb that will probably be built up on the Timbersaw, which we always see up against the Storm Spirit because you almost guaranteed need it. Still, yeah, I do agree the PA is going to be very nice into that Ursa. Definitely not wanting that MKB. You could hope to cleave with the Battle Fury and get the damage off that way, but obviously that's quite unrealistic to kind of expect in the middle of a team fight. Well, they've got an offlane pickup here, 5-man Midas, so they could still find something to kind of make the PA's life hard. It's just a matter of what you can pick up, and I suppose one of the offlaners that could have done it is the Sand King with Epicenter Burrow. That is now banned out from Latam defenders. You still have heroes like offlane OD, but that just hasn't made an appearance for such a not such a long time. It's only been like a week, but ever since that patch came out that nerfed OD a bit, we haven't really seen much of that. But having the Meteor Hammer into the Astral and then dropping Sanities is usually quite good up against the PA. You're smiling, John. You've seen something again. What is it?
No, they've reached a point in the stream where they were talking about the Timb. There are a couple of people saying they've never heard of Timb. There are a couple of people that do say Timb. So there you go, Mike. There are others. There are multiples of us, Mike.
Okay,
multiples.
They're lying, John. They're lying. Nobody says it.
Still, we're going to see the next pickups, of course, as you mentioned, off lane for 5-man Midas. They're still looking for a favorable mid here for that Storm. Maybe the Kunkka comes out with the X mark. That could be another setup for the Arrow as well for Latam. That's the only real option mid that they have available if they want something that can give them some control for the Storm outside of the line. So only the Kunkka really left. You pointed out the OD maybe, but
ooh,
okay.
wow.
Visage, huh?
Visage comes out, huh? That's a very interesting pick. I'm not exactly sure what to think of it. I think in terms of kiting out this Ursa, it's going to be amazing because Gravekeeper's Cloak makes it so he can't burst you. I don't even know what the spell's called. The one where he steals your movement speed and attack speed or whatever it is. The first spell.
Yeah, Grave Chill, I think.
Grave Chill, something like that. I never played Visage, John. I have standards, but you get my point. What is it, John?
I used to play Visage.
Did you really?
Way back. Yeah, like when I was lower tier. It actually is, like if you're trying to climb and you're decent enough with your all creep control, like control clicking to control everything, it's actually pretty good. Before, it was a lot easier. Visage in this case, you mentioned, it's going to sit through the burst quite nicely. Although the Ursa kind of burns through your Gravekeeper's Cloak quite fast, especially once he gets his overpower on. So they're going to lose that stacks immediately. The Fury swipes will still stack up, so there's going to be a burst of damage after that buff is gone. What the Visage does give is some much needed push here for Latam defenders. So they do have a way of taking some objectives out. And 5-man Midas just goes for the Tide. It's left alone. That does give them a lot of team fight on top now. They've got some really durable frontliners, but this is a Tide into Timbersaw. So there are some ways for Valky to kind of handle Monster, in this case, rip through his HP, maybe force him to throw the Ravage off at a awkward position or awkward time where you don't necessarily want to. Really solid drafts from both sides. Very different once more. I think Latam defenders have pulled out something very, very, very different from what we're used to seeing. Just the Visage to close it out. Na up against Esk down mid. Visage versus Storm. I don't think I've ever seen that. At least not within 2 years.
It's been a long time. Not really sure what to expect, but I think before the level 6 mark for the Storm, it is going to be very hard to contest the Visage. After that, maybe you could just zip away every time he gets close, but I think it might pay off this game. I think there's a lot of kiteability that can occur here with the Ursa. You might not care once you have a BKB on that Ursa, but up until that point, it can be a little bit challenging to deal with this Na Visage, but let's wait and see. Let's not assume things too early on, as again, we haven't seen this hero in a very long time. It's hard to know where it fits in the current meta.
Yeah. The itemization as well is what I want to be seeing out here from Na. We used to see Helm of the Dominator rushed out from Visages, even down mid, just to take control early, start running down, get some good push going on with the additional creep. Not sure if that's going to be a priority here in this case for Na. And you also have to remember, he does have some really interesting abilities now. With the Ags, it does give you a new skill, Silence the Grave. I tried it out once. And it's a strange one. Like it gives you movement speed and change your movement type to flying. And when you leave invisibility, you deal 30% more damage. So I'm not sure if that's something Visages will rush now. It's potent, but it's not the same as getting an extra familiar like you used to. So not entirely sure if you're going to be wanting to rush that now on Visage. Although Na.
He's going to be in trouble. They do surround. Na. This is not the way he wanted to start, and he is going to get taken down immediately. First blood will go to the way of Esk on the Storm, and that's going to be a very nice start for the Storm, who is in for a pretty difficult laning phase.
Oh yeah, it's I mean, just finding that kill does set up Esk a big amount of an advantage. He's ready to ship himself some additional regen on hand. He can build into his null easily. They're still taking control of the high ground, and Latam defenders are still in the area, so there's an opportunity perhaps to keep scuffling here.
Certainly so, especially if 5-man Midas want to try and fight. Eridus going to show himself. Boone's going to stand his ground with the aphotic shield, but they do get the bounty, and they are indeed going to go for another fight. Arrow did land from Moonlight, but they aren't going to really contest or capitalize on it. That'll be enough. Both teams back off. Wait for another time to re-engage. Does seem like Moonlight is going to almost pump fake going down to the bot lane. It's going to move his way back up top, and of course you are going to try and get another arrow and try to set up a kill for yourself before you do leave this lane if you are Eridus or Moonlight. Eggster is probably dead. See ya, Eggster. Blocks off the tree line. He can't walk that way anymore. Very nice play there from Moonlight. It should be Eridus leaving the lane, if anyone. Or he could just stay here if he really wants to.
Yeah,
See
I
if
think
they do want to try lane.
it is a Timbersaw bot, right? Like, you don't necessarily need to support that here. It can be left alone, even against a dual lane. You're seeing Valky up against Lord Boons. 2 melee heroes against Timbersaw. It's not too much of a challenge. Sure, Lies can try to get some hits in once he has a Fury swipes, but every single time you try to contest, there's just no way you're shoving this Timbersaw out.
Not even, not only 2 melee heroes, John, 2 strength melee heroes. Not going to feel very good at all. The Valky's going to be somewhat careful when Boons gets the Curse of Avernus off. I suppose the silence can be pretty detrimental to Valky because he might not be able to chain away from the Ursa. Of course, the added attack speed for that Ursa is going to be very nice, especially if he doesn't have the overpower up at the time. Still, we'll have a look at the mid lane as well, because I imagine the top lane is where all the action will be. In fact, as I say that, I believe there is some right now. This monster popping a fair bit of damage, but he's going to be alright. But the mid lane, Esk versus Nana. Even with that first blood gold, Nana has managed to keep up in terms of CS. And it is that Grave Chill that makes it very difficult to lane up against this hero.
Yeah, I mean, the harassment you can pump out with your added attack speed is fairly big as well. And Esk, I mean, he's not taking too many hits. He has better wave clear on that Storm, so that's the one thing the Visage doesn't have as much control over. He does have some good trading spells with the Soul Assumption, but generally do go for Grave Chill plus Cloak.
Just to kill down at that bot lane. Looks like Valky did end up getting caught off guard, and like I said, John, Curse of Avernus, you get hit by it, you're kind of screwed. Of course, Boons and Lies can dive the tier 1 tower if necessary to get the kill as well. So you have so much tankiness with that aphotic shield. So Valky will have to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a lot of value from killing off that Timbersaw. It's not amounting too well up top, like the tri-lane against a dual lane. It's just, it doesn't feel like it's achieving too much. They're slowing down the Tidehunter, so Monster isn't getting as much farm, and Cocohook is finding a good amount of farm for himself. But if you slow down a Timbersaw too much, we've seen this here fall flat.
It does need that good start. You can see him just backing off every single time that silence does kick in. Of course, now that he has level 2 reactive armor, he's going to be a little bit safer, but definitely not out of the woods, as they do jump in again with the Earth Shock, and he has no chains up yet. It's not level 4. Curse of Avernus, that'll kick in. Lies will go in for a bit more damage. Do they want to dive for this? It looks like they will, as Boons has the aphotic shield and Valky has nowhere to go, and they will get another kill. And just based off the way this lane is going, I'd say it is kind of worth it if they bring a support in.
Yeah, it's just way too slow to start now. I mean, Monster is still getting levels, although they might find that kill.
Yeah, Monster does Fairy Fire up, still trying to run, but the follow-up arrow is there, and Cocohook will be able to get a kill on the PA. They do make the tri-lane kind of work out here with that kill. I just don't know if it's worth your Timbersaw struggling this much.
Probably not, because even if a Tidehunter goes off to a slow start, as long as you hit 6, you're always going to have the threat of Ravage. right? Like Ravage is always going to be a factor there, whereas the Timbersaw, sure, he's going to have Chakram, but without items to supplement his kit, it does fall flat. And apparently both sides are receiving some lag. Aretes as well mentioning it, so I'm surprised again. Boons is not lagging. He's just
Yeah.
constantly at what, 180 to 200. Doesn't matter. It's constant.
It's 230, John. Don't undermine how much ping the man's playing on. The man from Australia on 230 ping is the only guy apparently that's not receiving internet issues right now. So there you go.
And
Austra-
BN.
I told you, John. Australian internet's no longer a meme. We're kind of doing something with it. It's good.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's all the spiders on the internet lines. They're helping out. They're helping out. Just like the spider nest in the router, Mike.
Yeah, World Wide Web. We took that quite literally, John, in Australia. And
Ugh. Like, I still remember you mentioned you were bit by a spider. How does that happen? Like a spider just casually
let me
crawls up
explain.
to you?
Yeah. So what happens and I'm pretty sure this happens with the rest of the world as well, assuming they have spiders. But what happens is in very hot weather, they come out of like their little hibernation. Usually they'll burrow and just kind of hide for a while during the winter. And then when it starts to get cold, so once you hit autumn after summer, they'll start to get into your house and try to find a warm spot to kind of just stick around for the colder months. And we just hit autumn the other day, so I guess I'm going to go around and spray the house with some bug spray or something, because they're going to come in.
God.
They're going to start attacking us, John. War has begun.
Yeah, just like the war that's still happening down bot. Valky does hit level 4, so he does have Chain away now, but that's not going to help you if you do get silenced up. Still, that does look like 5-man Midas will relieve themselves of that pressure. Boons is actually trying to get a bit of a walk around. Does drop a ward just to monitor any farming patterns that come out. And it's holding steady here for 5-man Midas. 2 to 3. There is a slight net worth lead coming out on the Latam defenders, but not enough to really be noticeable just yet. So they're still holding their supports up top, although they're chasing Moonlight.
Moonlight danger, will leap away, but that was his last leap charge. Hastrune is there. Esk even getting the bounty rune on his way out. Eridus might be another kill if they can get both. Eridus will definitely die. Looks like Esk, he's just going to ignore the Mirana. He got what he came for anyway.
Yeah, it's a pretty even trade, I suppose. In the end, they look to have gotten 3 bounty runes on the side of Latam defenders, so not too bad trading away support like that. And you do get some space out for that mid Visage to find a little bit more farm. Another pause out. Maybe they need some spiders to help their Discord this time, Mike. Fix that up.
I have a feeling the spiders don't help, John. They're quite quite vicious creatures, those things. The spider that bit me earlier, though, that was quite a small one. Not too bad.
Okay.
But then again, it's usually the small ones that are the most poisonous as well. So
That's true. Like, huntsmen are actually good spiders to have, right? Like, I hear they're good for bugs and stuff. Other bugs.
yeah, sometimes if you
actually
see
pretty nice.
some spiders in the backyard, you just leave them there just to catch the flies. But mid lane, Nana, he's going to be all right.
That's a big fly.
Or maybe he's not going to be all right. He turned back around, but Boons just keeps moving forward on the Abaddon. He can tank through all the tower damage, and this Visage is probably going to die as the zip-in is there from Esk.
Ooh.
And Boons will barely survive the Soul Assumption, but Cookahawk does find a trade up at the top lane, killing off Monster. But I'd say the Visage is much more worthwhile to kill.
Yeah, it definitely is. That gives Esk a lot more to play with. He gets to secure this Arcane Rune down bot as well. So he's getting a lot of value on the Storm. Is pulling way ahead compared to Nanana. And Nanana, I mean, he's got level 6. He can go for the Familiars, which should allow him to farm in the jungle a little bit faster if he does have that up. The issue is the jungle's already fairly well monitored here from the side of 5-man Midas. And now, Latin defenders still hold onto a slight net worth lead. That's all riding on the fact that Cookahawk is finding a lot more in the top lane. But they really are sacking the other lanes. Like, Valky is just slowing down so much in Tim, and he's in danger.
Yeah, Valky just not getting any space to just relax and get some farm up, is going to die for, I believe, the 3rd time this game. All within 7 minutes. However, he gets a kill in the mid lane up against Aikstern. Of course, with the Familiars up now, they can start the push. All of these force the glyph, and they'll force a rotation out from Lord Boons.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a lot of value from this Abaddon regardless. If he gets to soak down mid, the familiars don't quite do enough damage on tier 1. And they are actually fairly squishy if you put them up a bit too close. So you have to watch your spacing there from Na. He is going for the drums build, so it's a more aggressive Visage build that just wants to stay with his team, force towers out, force fights out, and should still be on the road for it fairly soon. So we'll see if that does help the case here for the side of Latam defenders in finding these early objectives. Neither side really positioned to go for an early push just yet, although there has been some good chip damage down bot. Both sides are just kind of trying to secure that early farm, especially for the Visage. Like, Na just needs to find the farm up into drums, and then I think that's when you feel confident enough to start showing yourself in the side lanes.
Moonlight. Oh, they might spot out Esk, but no, Esk spots him out first. Familiars are around to stop Esk from pursuing the kill. Just wanted the Invis rune anyway. Even duking out the arrow now. Let's pop the Invis rune and it's going to be okay to walk back towards his tier 1 tower. It's like, no. Still just trying to farm up his own drums. Definitely not the start you'd envisioned for this Visage, but to try and catch up the best he can. Meanwhile, bot lane, Lies, going to be chased down by Valky a bit. Not really going to lead to much. Like, he's going to be fine, and top lane, Monster might just get dived. Looks like the threat of the Ravage is enough to keep them at bay. Lies.
Stacking power that side, although.
He used the Enrage already. Chain's not actually going to latch onto a tree. Had that landed, he may have just got the kill, but Valky not going to be able to get there.
It's unfortunate. They really want to slow down Lies here. Still having a good start on that Ursa. They do manage to finally find Monster. They do pick up that kill for themselves up top. And Cook is pulling ahead here on the PA. Perseverance up about 700 gold ahead of the Ursa. So that should mean a faster Battle Fury for the PA. And a lot more flash farm coming out from the PA if 5-man Midas don't manage to find an answer for this.
Yeah, my only concern right now for Latam defenders is they're going to get this quick Battle Fury. But she's just going to want to be able to farm up on that PA anyway. Nana needs to be the tempo setter for the team, and right now, just based off his farm and levels, you start to question whether he can do that job for the team. He's going to rotate top, and he's going to get the Grave Chill onto Monster with a nice Soul Assumption. The Earth Spike is there, and it looks like Monster is going to die for a second time. That's definitely going to help out the cause of Nana. He does pick up the drums now, and maybe he could start forcing that tier 1 top tower in, but it looks like he wants to try and at least secure this power rune. It is going to be an arcane as well.
Ooh.
And that means Aegster is probably just gone.
Oh yeah, it's that spike with a Visage now. With drums up, with the familiars ready to go. You can start to melt through, and Na is actually saving up for the Ags. So going for that Silent as the Grave for the added move speed and the scouting capabilities. That could be potent if he finds it in a timely manner. Forces out a response to defend this mid-tier 1 as well.
It's going to be nice and easy with the drums popped. No glyph. On 5-man Midas, and that tier 1 tower is definitely gone. And that's what you like to see when you see a Visage on the in someone's draft. You just want to take towers very, very early, especially that mid-tier 1, because you need the map to open up.
Yeah, and you're just going to start to clear out some of these objectives now, going forward up top as well. And it's a simple process for the Visage. Pop the drums, melt the tower. They've got a casual Blightstone as well to make this quicker. So the towers will not hold at all, and there's just no push coming out from 5-man Midas to counteract that.
Bot lane, looks like they are trying to go onto Valky, but they've lost Esk. He gets fingered there by Eridus. And Lies now is just trying to get himself out, but the chase is on. Familiars are going to get vision very, very soon. Lies, he has help in the form of boons on the Abaddon, but he's already lost that Aphotic Shield, and now with all the control, they are going to be able to take him down very easily. Very, very bad news for 5-man Midas.
And they're just going to get run down now. They've got the Battle Fury up on Cook, so he can just focus in on farming, going for the Desolator next. A much more standard build-up for a PA. No need to rush for something like the BKB here. And Cook has just not been contested. 3-0 so far. A lot of space on the map for him to farm up. Look at these wards out from Latam defenders as well. Watching the top jungle, watching the top lane, watching their entrance by the river ramp. and watching the bot lane. They've got a lot of control in terms of finding out what 5-man Midas wants to do, and that just prevents a lot of rotations out from 5-man Midas. They are trying to get some recovery farm here for Monster. Does hold onto the Ravage, wants to build up more on the Tide, and you also need to see that Orchid come out from Esk, but that's going to take a little bit more time to just build up here.
Certainly. I think the vision being provided here from Latam defenders is obviously going to be very, very impactful when you've got a Visage who can pretty much kill anyone right now, assuming he has a +1. Definitely just want to be able to abuse it as much as possible. Burns. Be able to walk away from Nana. Like, Nana is really committed to just going straight ags. It looks strong just on paper. I haven't personally seen it, so I'm very curious to see how impactful it's going to be.
I think it's going to be a lot. Like, if that amps up his damage overall, so Soul Assumption full stack from the Invis, that's going to be a huge nuke to have, just 30% amp up. Still, the rotation from 5-man Midas. They want to make a move onto Valkyrie and take this tier 1 bot.
Zip straight into the tree line. Eridus is going to be the one to be found down, and the Ravage is going to be committed, connecting on both. Valky getting Earth spiked up, and they even stole the Whirling Death. Valky, though, chains away, doing a lot of damage to the enemy, but it's not going to matter. Being controlled up and is going to die. Very nice pick off there from 5-man Midas. Be able to go after that bottom tier 1 tower now.
Yeah, it's a fairly quick push when you have these many heroes around. Issue is, this is a ton of space out for Latam defenders. Cook now nearing 8k net worth, whereas our Ursa is still at 6k here for the side of 5mm. So the build-up is not quite even yet. The Battle Fury is almost done for Lies, and it's at that point where he can maybe sort of equalize that farm. But this is just highly efficient farming from Latam. Like, Nana is just clearing out the top jungle. He has one part for his Ags up, so he's got more stats to play with. And he's getting some good levels in. Max level Soul Assumption up. So if you go into these fights and you don't burst down the Visage, he's going to be able to pump out a lot of damage with that Soul Assumption.
And the defender's just going to occupy the Dire jungle now, and they are starting to look towards that top tier 2 tower. So you still have plenty of capability of going after this tower even this early with this Visage. Gonna have to pick off Monster if they want to make that happen. They're gonna commit. Valky, he'll just tank the creep wave. Monster will show himself. Will force Valky to back off again. Instead, they move over to the mid lane.
This should make my life easier.
Looks like both teams are fairly just comfortable just farming up right now. I think it does favor Latam defenders a bit more because they have this PA that is sort of reliant on just being able to farm at this point of the game. I suppose you could make the same argument for the Ursa Storm, but we've just seen PAs so many times in the late game just destroying people. As now S, mid lane, is going to be able to blow up Eridus, but the Yules is there from Moonlight into the Arab with the Aphotic Shield. Going to purge off the stun, and it may mean Boons dies, but it'll be well worth it if S gets out. Borrow time will be there. Lions, he's around the corner if they need the help. Monster is moving in, and Ravage is available in 5 seconds. That is going to force Latam defenders to back off, but Esk, he's going to jump right back in onto the Visage. A nice Ravage out. They'll kill off the Visage, they'll kill off the Familiars, and they'll get Valky. That's a great turnaround from 5-man Midas.
That's a lot of gold to bleed out. You have to be careful with how far forward you do go on that Visage. Take control of those Familiars more. Bleeding out that much gold to a Storm is always bad news. He already has the Orchid, making great use of it. Now he's saving up for the Bloodstone next, and very sneaky play from Boons. He spots out Aretas just walking around. So the defense not going to be coming out for the mid-tier 1. They're going to try to slow it, but not much they can do right now. They need to wait for some items here in Latam, not just in the PA, but also on the line. They need a blink up to really take control in these fights.
Kuko Hook, of course, has the Deso, but is probably just going to work towards the BKB before he really gets involved. Just wants to be 100% safe, or maybe not. They smoke him up. Are they going for a Roshan play, perhaps?
Oh yeah, that's going to be so quick with a Visage. Just absolutely melts once you pop the drums in. That is the sneak play they're going to do. So the smoke bypasses the ward. And 5-man Midas, they do have a scan. They have to be a bit suspicious about this movement, but they don't scan the right spot.
No, they do not. Another thing with the Visage, you get that great chill going. With your familiars, you just take down the Roshan so darn quick. Being Aegis now to cook a hook, and that means without the BKB, he can join his team for a fight if he wants. He may just do so.
There's no Ravage right now in 5-man Midas, so it's a very bad time for them to force a bigger fight out. They could still try though, but...
We'll give it a crack. Valky, chain up to the high ground. Everybody else from 5-man Midas backing off. Even Boone's going to be just fine to get out. So instead, Latam defenders back into that mid-tier 2 tower. If you control the triangle of the enemy side, of course, you are naturally going to get a net worth advantage. That may just be the objective here from Latam defenders. They're not really in any rush with this position 1 PA. Especially at the speed that he's farming up. Just no reason for them to force any fights if they don't have to.
Invisibility.
Oh. Lies.
Trying to fight here. Esk is also backing. Moonlight committed. You do have the arrow available if you want to try and throw it into Lies, but you don't have the Yule set up yet. Not for another 5 seconds. Chains forward again. They're going to find Esk instead, but he's going to zip away. They haven't got the lockdown as the Hex was on cooldown. However, over to the high ground side, triangle now. Ravage going to be expended, only connecting on the PA. They are going to get the Aegis. Nana does manage to back off with his DD rune now, turning back around. Monster. Monster, he'll be stunned up. He gets crit on the dagger. He's copying a lot of damage and looks like he is set to die. They also get Aegster on the Rubik, and they might just be able to get Lord Boons. He does have borrowed time. So that's going to be enough to allow him to get out, but still definitely a very good team fight here for Latam defenders once again.
They force out the Ravage, so to fight a respawn of this Tide, they're not going to have that for the next defense. They will have to pull off. A bit of an awkward fight for Kokohook, just kind of trying to maximize his time down there, farming on the edge while low. Does get punished, but it's just an Aegis. Still building into the BKB in a timely manner. You do have the Blink now on Aretes. So he can blink in, he can Hex, he can get that Earth Spike off, and it complicates matters for the Storm, who has already had sort of a wonky time jumping in and out. Now you have to worry about the line just catching you out of position and finding that kill. Really even game on the board. 11-11, 1k lead on Latam defender, so it's not a big lead, but it does feel like they've got the momentum on their side here.
They definitely do. I think the key timing is that BKB for the PA still.
Prize is mine.
Stupendous. Haste.
Lies is farming up the exact same thing, of course. It does still feel like the PA is just going to be that much more impactful with the BKB. Lies will try and at least get his up ASAP. And Axe is up in 600 gold now for Nana.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this. I'm
Yeah,
very
I mean,
curious.
I'm just mildly worried. I mean, he's surely aware it's, of course, different, but if he's expecting a third familiar, I think he might be
he's
in for a
surely
bit of a
not.
shock. Oh, surely not, right? Like, sometimes you tunnel vision in. I'm just, hopefully he's not. And it's still a good spell. I want to see its impact. And anyway, when you hit level 25, you will have that +1 familiar. So it's going to come out at some point, although...
Spike mid.
monster.
Yeah, it is the Tide. They're going to leave him be. We'll just drain some mana off him. Going to jump back through for another Whirling Death, but I don't really see them killing him. As Nana isn't around the area, and of course their PA is also just still freely farming up. Just
Yeah,
one of those games now where both teams feel the need to get more items to really have some a decent chance to be able to fight. 5-man Midas, they are going to smoke up as 3 and see if they can use this Ravage. Esk will follow. Problem is, they're going onto the wrong side of the map. Latam defenders, they are going the opposite way. And if they keep going that way, they may run into Lies on the Ursa. And he is all by himself right now.
Yeah, he's so close to that BKB as well. Does not want to die here. Looks like they'll just set eyes for the bot tier 1, which our Visage will still be able to melt quite fast. And the Ags is up now for Nanana. So we'll see just how effective Silent as the Grave is. I think it's pretty darn nice, but again, 30%, 4-second duration for the damage. Not sure if that's enough to justify a 4,200 gold item. We'll find out soon enough.
It's very hard to tell, right? Because you don't see Visage enough to really know what the optimal builds are. I'm sure Nana knows exactly what he's doing. Tier 2 bottom tower, not going to last too long at this rate. They need to try and defend, it seems, on 5-man Midas, but they're not even going to have the time for it. It's just gone. And with that, Cocohook is basically one creep away from having the BKB up now. And I think that'll just be Q to smoke up and move as a team, try to start a big 5v5. 5-man Midas, they are going to try and start it first, as they do have the BKB now up on Lies. Amelias are going to go in, Moonlight Shadow, they're going to see right through it, go on to Moonlight, but he's still alive. Big Ravage up from Monster is going to mean Eridus does die, and now the leaps away from Moonlight are probably not going to be enough. So he does die on the high ground, and now it's on to Nana. They'd love this Visage to die, so they might even find him. But the Familiars, 3-man stun, and he is invis. They can't actually see him.
Yeah, we don't see the damage coming through though, as they are forced to back out. So a good set of pickoffs there for 5-man Midas. They're not able to find any big core, so that's the silver lining there for Latam defenders. They don't drop anything major just yet, but 5-man Midas are showing that they do have the power on hand. Again, it's a very close game at 11 to 13. We're seeing our Ursa start to be a big factor now with the earlier BKB on Lies. Of course, that is going to line up with the BKB as well on Cocohook, and Cocohook is going hunting here. No,
He's not going to be able to kill him. And Rage is going to make it impossible anyway. Comes Nana, very, very sneaky on this Visage now. Okay, this flying vision does seem kind of... sorry, not flying vision, but flying movement does seem kind of broken. Not 100% sure yet. But flying movement is always pretty darn good.
Oh yeah, and it's, I believe, 35 seconds of flying movement.
That's a lot.
It's a pretty long time, with a 45-second cooldown. A lot of uptime for that in the Visage.
Just flies across the map. Latam defenders, they'll see boons. Not quite the target they want to initiate on, so they'll leave him be. Yes, he'll just hide in the tree line for now. Like the defenders, they might just try and force this top tier 2 tower. BKB up on Cocohook as well. Gonna be a nice easy tower. In the end, if you can't get a team fight started, you just take objectives. Wait out the next Roshan, and we're about to find out when that Roshan's about to spawn. 1 minute and 20 seconds.
One. Not the quickest, but Latam defenders does set themselves up well for the next Roche, taking out that top tier 2. So there's only the mid tier 2 left for 5-man Midas to really port into to contest that Roche. Not much vision around the pit from both sides yet, although again Latam can just easily start to plant their wards around the area, knowing that 5-man Midas is not going to have as much control. Gotta be careful here, as they are circling around a bit. There is Ravage ready in 5-man Midas if they want to force something.
Banana, he's basically a Nyx assassin right now. Just better. I mean, he was underneath the Sentry Ward in all fairness, but the amount of vision this Visage Ags can get you, seems really good.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of turns your familiars into like the old Beastmaster Hawks that you could control that stay invis. So you just get a lot of scouting vision out, and they do a lot of damage once they do pop out. So there's a nice back and forth there. Still, 5-man Midas are grouped up, looking like they want to maybe smoke after the creep wave. Have Ravage waiting. They've got the blink on Monster as well.
Eridus, with the Shadow Amulet, just chilling out, waiting to see if someone will walk past, but nobody does. It begs the question, John, do you remember the initial, the original Visage with the 6 familiars? They're all tiny in Dota 1.
Yeah, it wasn't even like familiars. There was like, I don't know, he was a very weird hero in Dota 1. I played him then, and I didn't understand what I was doing. All I knew is things died. And I just forget. I was like, okay, it's a weird one. Still,
They
Roche
were annoying
up.
to control. I'll tell you that.
Oh, that they were.
Zip in, S, gonna go after the Lion, trying to blow him up. Ravage is there, big one for Monster as well, catching up to 4 heroes. They're still gonna try and go for the fight. Cookahawk going after S, but he'll zip away. It's not a great start here for Latam defenders. Eggstar gonna walk out, Burns, borrowed time has been popped, so he's basically just dead. Aquatic Shield will not buy him enough time. And Roshan is up. Latam defenders, they did commit a buyback. They may as well just try and rush this Roshan now. That is exactly what they'll do. They know the Storm is without mana to boot. So the chances of it being stolen are quite low, but Monster is going to try and buy some time for the Storm to reset and TP back to the outpost. Roshan going to be left at half HP.
They don't want to force the issue. There's no Ravage on 5-man Midas, but they are worried about the Storm coming in. And X has had a really good time targeting. Just constantly going for the line, which is their best control for the Storm, but that doesn't matter if you're dead before the fight starts.
Lies. Very, very cheeky here from the Ursa. They're going to try and distract the rest, but Lions does eventually walk out of the pit as S jumps in onto the Visage, but does back out again. Cookahawk, meanwhile, straight onto Monster. They blow him up with the finger. He'll buy back immediately. Onto Lord Boons, but he does have the borrowed time. It's not looking great for him, though. He'll need to get up onto that high ground. But Roshan will continue. Lies, meanwhile, again jumping back in, but with no BKB pop. He'll pop it now, but Cookahawk right on top, going after Monster, trying to delete the Tide, will get the Ursa, and also finds Boons. Moonlight would love a dieback on this Tide Hunter. It's going to be okay, Monster. I can't say the same for the Roshan, though, as both familiars go down. Cookahawk happily going to take that Aegis for himself now. Also keeps the cheese. That was a very unfortunate situation, John. You saw Lions getting stunned up by those familiars before he could get the BKB off, and by the time he did, it just didn't seem to matter anymore.
No. And that's the one thing that this Visage really does give you, that good set of chain stuns that people tend to underestimate, and people tend to stay clumped up for, because it's really hard to track these familiars mid-fight, right? You're worrying about other heroes instead. You're worrying about your own position relative to, say, the PA or the Lion in this case, and you just end up clumped up, get chain stunned by those familiars. You don't have enough burst to deal with them beforehand because everything else is so much more important. And suddenly you just leave Nana alone. And because he has his level 15 talent with 2 targets and the Soul Assumption, man, sustained fights are a pain for 5-man Midas. And they've got 2 tanky heroes in the front, so there's always going to be a source of a hero to damage to get more charges on that Soul Assumption.
It's just such a strong ability to have. Can't underestimate how much damage that Soul Assumption does. The cooldown is so low as well. Like every 4 seconds, 2 people are getting Soul Assumption placed on them. And you're going to have it maxed out every single time in a team fight because of the amount of damage that's being pumped out. It's just kind of ridiculous how much magic damage you can get out there against 5-man Midas with this Visage.
Yeah, I actually do like this change with the Ags, right? Like, before it was about getting more familiars, and then you'd also build up like a creep army with, you build yourself a Dominator and just play this push game. Go AC maybe, or in some cases Necronomicon. This time around, it's all about the damage, and this is the Visage I miss. Just the pure damage dealing, scouting around, being really disruptive in fights. Nana is doing a fantastic job. He makes this hero look really underrepresented, you know? Like, it's been left under the radar, and here it is sneaking in, held its own against the Storm quite well. And now they're 15-15, but with a 10k lead on Latam defenders, 5-man Midas have to take their fights carefully. They need to play with this Ravage that is up and try to lock in that line once more to enable Esk to just zip around and get the damage off.
Cookahawk looking for an initiation here, hoping somebody comes in to farm that creep wave mid lane. He does have the Abyssal up. With the Aegis, he's ready to go whenever. All Lies does blink away. They control the map, so there's no real reason for them to risk losing a high ground fight. More than happy to just keep controlling up the Dire jungle and not allowing 5-man Midas to actually leave the base. You get a nice double damage rune being spotted out now. And that may be cue to try for high ground once they do pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have so much burst damage coming out in the PA. Now, at the least, you do have this MKB up on Lies. So he can actually get some hits off onto that Phantom Assassin. And the durability from the evasion is not quite going to be there anymore. Still, you have to worry about that instant bash on the Abyssal. And even the bash and the dagger can be really frustrating to fight into. So just a conservative play here from 5-man Midas. They know the Aegis is still up. They don't want to force the Ravage outside with Aegis up and running. And they're just stuck in their base. They lose out in the farm war in this case, of course. And Latam defenders are just in a very comfy spot to play this war of attrition.
That they are. The Eye of Skadi being built up now by Cookahawk. Lies. Continuously blinking back after clearing out the creep wave. Zip in, silence is there from Esk, but again, no commitment. They understand they can't really commit all the way. They also don't know that that double damage rune is bottled up right now for Cookahawk. It has not been spotted out by the Dire side, so it would be a bit of a surprise for them if the team fight did start. Zip is there from Esk again, but he's going to zip right back out. Now Cookahawk, I think he just said screw it. To the tier 3 tower they go. They still got the Aegis for a bit longer.
It's only for 9 seconds, though. Risky spot if Cookahawk does get focused on here. Might be surprised with the Aegis expiring.
Zip in, they do get the Vortex off. It's going to be just fine. That is it. The Aegis does expire now. Do they want to keep trying for this tier 3? Nana does. Familiars, one of them drops. So that should be it. I don't think they go any further.
No, just a conservative play once more from Latam defenders. They know there's power here in 5-man Midas in the high ground. Ravage is still scary. 5-man Midas, knowing that they're on the retreat, do smoke up. They want to get some punishment out from stragglers. Let's see if they find someone.
They're going into Moonlight Shadow. Smoke already broken on Lies. Monster gonna go to the high ground. Nana just gonna scout out. Monster does not want to die on his own. He needs to get that Ravage out ASAP. But he needs the right one as Lies is going to be scouted. They'll go for the Chakram first as they jump in with the Abyssal and the BKB. Lies falling low, but there's your Ravage out. The Timber in trouble and is going to drop, but Cookahawk is just focused in onto Lies. In fact, never mind, he'll turn back around onto Esk, who was hexed up. And now it's back to Monster. Tide will blink away for a second. Gonna try and juke, but no, the arrow gives vision, and now another hex onto Boons. Will mean an Abaddon death. 2 heroes down without buyback available. You've got buyback on Esk, but this is still going to be a very hard defense without Ravage up.
No, they really were banking on the control Ravage would give them. They're not quite close enough to finish up the Ags on that Storm as well, so Esk probably doesn't want to buy back if possible. That does mean they are looking at least at the tier 3 melting, likely more if they're not careful, as there's not much Rubik and Ursa can do to stave this off.
No, there is not. They've got to sit back and relax for a bit. Watch their home burn. They'll go for the mid-racks now. They've got plenty of time to do this. Hell, even once the tide's up again, with no Ravage, are you really that afraid? I don't think they are.
No, there's just not enough here, although...
Lies jumps in. Oh, the arrow connected. That's a big, big arrow straight out onto Cookahawk. They'll get the kill. Great steal there from Aegster. Now Lies, he can go forward. Esk gets a kill onto Eridanus and Moonlight. Tries to go scepter up and just run with the Moonlight Shadow. It is not going to pan out, however. And suddenly 5-man Midas. They defend high ground.
That's a really good play coming out from Aegster. Getting that control off. The PA has to be a bit careful. Was a bit greedy with holding out in the BKB. Had the cheese on hand. So there might have been an opportunity to turn that around if the BKB popped on, but just a bit too far out. They still did take a lane and a half worth of racks, so 5-man Midas are going to be playing on the back foot here, but they've got enough room to finish his farm up on a few key items. The Basher is now up in lies, so when he does go up and focus on the PA, there is a chance for that PA to just be stuck in one spot for a very long time, and they have some room to save up for the itemization on S. He is going for the Lincolns instead. It doesn't look, they just want to be safe from the Hex.
Oh, they found another. Valky gonna die, and now even another. Eridas gonna try and run, but he's been dusted up, and so is Nana. They'll zip back in onto the line, but the Ghost Scepter gonna save his life for now, but not for long, as he should just go down and does. Oh boy, they've given a lot away now to 5-man Midas. You don't want to lose fights like this and just get picked off one by one. And Roshan is up.
It's pretty good timing here for 5-man Midas. They clear this Roche really fast. You have to remember, this is still an Ursa. So that Roche is going to melt the... It's got an Ag's Blessing as well, so S does get the free Ag's upgrade, Mini Black Hole, which means they don't depend on the Ravage anymore. They don't need to depend on Ravage. They can just easily go in with the Storm, get the control off, and
what have they done?
They bled out one by one. They were too conservative with the Aegis. They jumped in when it expired, and they get punished for holding out in those BKB uses.
Oh, nice little Penta Edge Sword there for Lies as well. Let's give him a bit more, range with those attacks, a bit more damage if he wants it. But now, just holding on to the Ninja Gear. So this Vortex, yeah, it's going to be very scary, assuming S can land a big Vortex, and quite frankly, there has been a lot of clump ups here from Latam defenders, so it shouldn't really be too hard to land some big Vortexes for his team. Because if you can get that into the Ravage, without BKBs being popped again, Lies will be able to just shred through them. Oh, and on top of that, by the way, John, Timeless Relic is up now.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so more duration on that Vortex if S wants to pick up that Relic.
That's going to be terrifying to fight into now. If you are on the side of Latam defenders, they have to watch out for these major power spikes coming out on the side of 5-man Midas. It's getting a bit scary because this lead from Latam defenders 3k, it's not much. And sure, they can still burst heroes down, but I think we're starting to see the Visage start to tone down in its effect in the middle of these fights. Like the damage output from going out of Silence the Grave, I don't think that's even something Nana's thinking about. He just uses it to scout around and reposition, but not focusing on that 4-second window to get damage off, which, to be fair, is a very short time. So you're not getting any additional burst out.
They went from almost 20k net worth lead to 3k now, Latam defenders. It's a huge drop, and you look at the net worth graph, John, it's quite disturbing. Quite a big mountain there. Not good news that 5-man Midas have found a way back into this game. NS, Lincoln Sphere up. It looks like they've decided to give the Timeless Relic over to Monster, so you're going to have a longer duration on the Ravage now, which is pretty much just as good. In the Vortex, obviously, you can spam it a lot more often, but say a big Ravage would definitely be nice with the Timeless Relic.
Yeah, just giving them more hold in the middle of these fights. This Lincoln's is going to ruin Latam defenders' strat completely. Right? They rely so much on the line just insta-hexing. Now they have to break that Lincoln's first, and once you break that Lincoln's, there's enough time for a Storm to just zip away, reposition, find someone else in the back line, and Latam defenders loses an opening where they want to burst the Storm out first. So it's going to be really tricky to jump back into these fights now. They still hold on to a 2k lead, but again, it's not much considering they had a bigger swing a while ago. And 5-man Midas now are feeling confident with their lineup.
Oh, jump in, Abyssal Blade, they found the Lion. Eridas down. Nana also being scouted out there by Monster. Ravage gonna connect on top of the Roshan pit. That's awkward. They don't know where he is. They're gonna zip past him now, but how do you kill him? How do you actually kill him? He's just gonna go over the walls now.
Oh my god.
I have never seen that.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It's like he's a courier that's just untargetable, but he's actually a hero. Moonlight just gives him the tip. Like, I guess that works. Learned something new today.
Yep, it's a good play coming up from Nana. And delaying them out. Roche is still about 4 minutes away from when we'd see it respawn. So the issue here for 5-man Midas is they aren't finding objectives. Really would like to get that done with this bounce back in that they do have, but they're not able to find a bigger pickoffs that enable them to get a shove in. So they're just playing it safe as well, getting that build up here. The Swift Blink is almost done on Lies, and then we will experience true balance once more, Mike.
Michelle. Zip in, S. Gonna try it onto Valky, but Lotus Orb is already there. Burns needs the back. Thomas, rather borrowed time is there. Vortex is out as well. That's the AoE Vortex. However, Eridus has died to Lies. On the side, and now they're going to try after Nana, but there's your Abyssal Blade coming out from Cookahawk. Enrage is out with the Aphotic Shield, giving him more time on the Ursa. They'll continue to chase, however. Lies still in danger. Monster going to jump back in, but doesn't have the Ravage. He needs to find this Ursa. He hasn't really got much of a choice right now, and he is going to die just trying to run away. Eggster, who was trying to help out, is also going to die. A triple kill out for Nana. And I didn't mention this, John, but Nana has a Spell Prism. So Soul Assumption now is 3.3 seconds of a cooldown. And you're landing it on 2 heroes every time.
Yep, it makes it hard again in these prolonged fights for them to find that value. They forced the fight out without Ravage as well in 5-man Midas, and even with a Vortex, it's still hard if you don't catch the big force, and Cookahawk did have free reign to just do what he wants there. So we're gonna end up playing against Negative a little.
Nice AoE Vortex, but it's not really going to save the day here for 5-man Midas. Jump in, Lies wants to start the team fight without the Storm. They're going to try and go on to Eridus, but the jump in again from Cookahawk. A nice Earth Spike coming out. Lies dropping very, very low, cannot afford to die, but does go down. That'll be a tie back on the Ursa. Still, they will at least kill off the Mirana in the backlines, but does it really matter? As Cookahawk is kind of just uncontested here on the PA. Jumps in with the bash out and just deletes S. He'll buy back. But Mega Creeps are going to be on the way now for Latam defenders. And they're onto the tier 4 towers. How do you defend without your Ursa?
You don't. You do have Ravage though, but
Zip in.
damage is an issue here.
BKB is there from Cookahawk. He wants to be uninterrupted through these tier 4 towers being sieged, but Monster does jump in with a massive Ravage, but where's your follow-up? S, he's going to try and go after the PA, but they can't actually hit him. They don't have the damage without the Ursa, and now a Divine is up for Cookahawk. He's just going all the way, but the Vortex is there from S. He can't time this PA right now, but it looks like the cheese will be enough to keep him healthy. And he's back onto the Ancient. Zip in again from S, trying to buy time, but the GG has been called by Monster. And the first game of this best of 2 does go to Latam defenders. I've got to say, John, they were very close to throwing this game 1, but they do get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, we see spectacular Visage play coming out from Nana, seeing the power of the new Ags, sneaking around a Roche pit, getting a lot of damage off. They did get a lot of push coming out from that hero as well. So getting a lot of work done there. And 5-man Midas, look, they had a good start. They were keeping that Timbersaw in check. Monster was kind of being sacked up top for that to happen, but, you know, it's a tide. You still had Ravage to play with. It ended up being way too slow for Monster. His Blink came out a bit too late. The Ravages he had to throw out weren't ideal early on, and that just caused a lot of issues there for 5-man Midas. So really well played from Latam defenders. A lot closer than you'd expect, though, and we'll see if 5-man Midas can clean it up here for game number 2.
Yeah, we'll find out very soon. There's going to be a short 10-minute break, is what I was meant to say. And after that break, we're going to be right back with our final game of the day. And we'll see you all very, very soon. I will, however, say happy birthday to Dougie one more time. My question to you, though. I noticed everyone in the chat saying Losted for some reason. I'd like to ask, in fact, I saw you highlight a message yourself saying Losted. Why is everyone saying Losted, John?
I have no clue, but it feels like a nice meme. So I'm riding with it. We lost it. Sounds very nice. And apparently in that last game, 5-man Midas lost it a lot. Latam defenders won a lot. And, well, it's looking like they're going for the same strategy here. They open up with the line once more. 5-man Midas do get to pick up the puck. So that could correct some issues in their draft, gives them much more uptime in terms of forcing out some fights. Wondering if Latam defenders will look at that Visage again, because that was spicy from Nanana. Lots of damage coming in, and that pattern and the uptime of that spell on the Ags, that is just ridiculous. Like, the damage might not be amazing, but the scouting is just insane.
I actually spent the whole break laughing about that Roshan pit. Just being in that spot where they can't actually kill you.
Oh, yeah.
It reminds you of the Phoenix Sunray, how you can fly off the map and TP almost, except, he could still fight from a place where he's literally invulnerable, it seems like. Nevertheless, draft has begun. John, Puck, Earth Spirit being picked up here by 5-man Midas. Viper line opening for the side of Latin defenders. So the Viper a bit early. Maybe they want to throw it in the mid lane just to go up against the Puck. Maybe they just throw it in the off lane. Very flexible pick. The Lion, I'm not too surprised about. It does seem like Latin defenders do enjoy picking up the Lion, and I can't quite blame them. The instant Hex is very nice. The Finger Burst damage is also very nice. Having, 3 disables in one kit is kind of pretty broken in some way. But then again, Lion's kind of garbage as well. So.
His laning's not as bad. Honestly, it's not as bad as it was before. They've been able to maximize it, at least on Latam defenders. Of course, we were seeing them run a tri-lane to really maximize that early value in the Earth Spike. We'll see if that's something Latam defenders goes back to. But so far, looking like they've got decent lanes to go up against. Puck versus Viper is not too bad for the Viper. Puck should still have a good time because it's Puck, but Viper can make that lane a bit harder than you'd expect. Of course, there's some flexibility on hand here for 5-man Midas. You don't necessarily need to run Puck mid, although for the most part you do. Same with Viper. We've seen Viper off. We have seen the odd Viper pause 4 as well before. So yeah, it's kind of open there for Latam defenders if they find themselves in a pickle. But we'll see as the drafts develop. The Earth Spirit's a really good follow-up to the Puck, though. So you've got mobility on the Puck to jump in. The Earth Spirit can come follow up. You've got the Dream Coil kick combo once more, making its appearance. And we'll see if that's enough to give 5-man Midas the push they need to find their first win. I think there was some chatter in Twitch chat about 5-man Midas finding a win. It has been a rough journey for the stack. We'll see if they do start to find a couple of those wins here in the BTS Pro Series 5.
Well, if I may comment, I think they have improved from yesterday. That first game did look a lot closer. I'm not really sure where we could point out the issues. I don't really think it's a drafting issue per se. Maybe a bit of a coordination issue. Maybe the game plan just isn't working out, or the strategies they're trying to follow. But at least from yesterday, I'm seeing some solid improvement. I think as the days go on, and this is something that's kind of famous with BTS Pro Series because it does tend to last a couple weeks and there's so many games to go through, especially through the group stage, you do tend to see a lot of the teams improving quite a bit as you do go on through the tournament. So we'll see. We'll see if they can kind of make a comeback as there's plenty of games to go. For now, though, of course, they should just focus on trying to get this game to victory over Latam defenders who are looking pretty darn good and might be able to get the 2-0 victory themselves. Still, final ban out now. Latam defenders getting rid of the Pango and Medusa. We've seen the Alk Troll and Tidehunter being removed by 5-man Midas.
Still have some popular options on the table. Mars been left alone for both sides. So that could be a nice pickup on the off lane for either 5-man Midas or Latam defenders. Do you see the Lycan taken out here by the Latam defenders, which is fair enough. Lion can kind of give you some control over the Lycan. At the same time, Lycan can just kill a Lion with no worries. So just a safe pickup that they don't have to deal with. Latam defenders do go with a clock, and now you have this Clockwork Viper combo. You get the cogs off, just run up, get the cogs off, drop the Nether Toxin, start laying on the damage. not much most heroes can do to get out. Maybe the puck can get out. Earth Spirit's going to struggle to find a roll angle to get himself out. And a lot of cores will just be stuck there unless you go for something like, say, a jug to mitigate some of that magic damage here.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly just about lane domination, right? Even at level 1, you don't really need level 2 on the clock to actually have the impact you need with this Viper. As long as you can get in range for the battery assault to slow them down enough so the Viper can get the poison attacks off, generally that is enough to slowly but surely tick away at their HP pool and take them out. And of course, once you have level 2 and you have the cogs up, then you can just put the Nether Toxin in the cogs and have even more damage, and that's almost a guaranteed kill. Still, 5-man Midas, they do go for the Oracle, so you have a way of blocking out a lot of that magic damage with the Fate's Edict. Only problem being, you usually won't go for the Fate's Edict till level 4. So you might not really get that much value out of it in the laning phase, but see how 5-man Midas does go. I'm sure that is going to be a POS 5 Oracle, of course, as well, which on 230 ping, playing Oracle can be a little bit challenging, to say the least.
That
So
it can be, although I think Boons did actually really well with his Abaddon last game. His saves with the shield were actually on point, so it's almost the same thing with Oracle tossing out that false promise. I don't think it's too big of an issue. It looks like Boons is kind of used to that delay now at this point. So I think it should be manageable. This does enable 5-man Midas to maybe go for pause ones that would enjoy that prolonged life. They don't have access to Troll, but there is maybe the possibility here for something like the Terrorblade if they want. We haven't seen that at all, though. So probably not in their sights. There's already some magic damage here from Latam defenders to deal with that, and the Lion to kind of circumvent all that illusion spam as well. So maybe not the easiest TB game despite having the Oracle, but we'll see. Still really open. You have the combination on hand as well. The roll in with a root follow-up from the Oracle can be devastating in lane if they want to go for some first blood action, but Latam defenders do pick up the Ursa for themselves this time, so it looks like a bit of a shake-up in their cores, and it's their turn to show the strength of Fuzzy Wuzzy towards the side of 5-man Midas.
Yeah, I think the Ursa pick's nice. I mean, there's so many disables, but you have Enrage. Just run through Dream Coil, break the coil with the Enrage, and it doesn't last as long. Nor does the roll, nor does the Fortune's End. It does seem like a very nice pick. Now, mind you, you don't know what the offlane of 5-man Midas is yet, but it is very likely the Earth Spirit is going to be part of the duo in that offlane. And as the Ursa, if Earth Spirit rolls in, he's basically just dead. So there's not much he can do to get away, but 5-man Midas, they go back for a PL now. Pretty interesting into the Viper. I still think it's going to be a very difficult lane, but I suppose having the Doppel can be impactful enough to get you out of a sticky situation with the Clockwork Viper. And of course, later on, up against the Ursa, he has Battle Fury that can be enough if you have the right angle to kind of get rid of all the illusions. Overall, I guess they just assume the PL is going to be able to deal with the Ursa later on.
Yeah, I think as the game scales on, the PL is going to be a bit overwhelming on the Ursa, especially once you get the diffusal timing. Ursa with no mana is just kind of stuck in a very bad spot, so you do have to watch that here from 5-man Midas. The laning, I think, the Viper up against a Viper, we tend to see PLs aimed for the Lance first, so the cooldown on level 1 Doppel is actually fairly long, which means you won't have that get out of jail card for free too often. So you have to be cautious. The Oracle has to be on point with saving him, so there's a lot of pressure here on Boons to help equalize that lane. If it is going to be an offlane Viper, I have a feeling Latin defenders might just flex it that way, look for something else down mid to face that puck. I'm thinking Embers in the pool, so that would be one way to deal with the PL as well. Just having Maelstrom with a Sleight of Fist can melt those illusions fast if you are worried about the PL being a massive issue here.
Sure. Might be the option they go for as well. It's definitely a nice catch for the Oracle and the Earth Spirit, and even the Park, just having those chains. That being said, I believe you can still phase shift through chains if I'm not incorrect, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I remember seeing a Reddit thread about this the other day, and people were complaining about how ridiculous it is that Puck can just get out of any situation. I guess it doesn't matter. You have Yules, you have Blink, you have phase shift, whatever else you want on the Puck. Still Latam defenders. Final ban out, 35 seconds reserve time to make this ban. They are looking to ban out some off-lane heroes, and we saw the Ursa, excuse me, not the Ursa, but rather the Veno being removed, and now the Bat Rider as well, just to really make sure this Ursa doesn't have too much of a difficult time. What do you want up against this Ursa? Your 5-man Midas.
Not many options left in the off lane. Pango's gone. There's a Mars, I suppose, if you want to.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you're really going to enjoy that up against the Ursa. Once he pops in Rage, even if you get the spear off, it's not going to be impactful enough. The arena could be a death trap for yourself instead, as Bulwark is nice, but Ursa, again, just doesn't care because he has Fury Swipes. So he's still going to rip right through to Mars, given enough time.
Could go for something like a Sand King, just trying to abuse Sandstorm, maybe abuse Caustic Finale up against the Ursa. Of course, one Sentry Ward is probably going to make it so you can't lane anyway, but what works with the Earth Spirit here up against the Ursa? Like, it's a very difficult scenario for the off lane.
Yeah, it's hard one to close out. I mean, there's the weird choice of Razor as well that we saw from Luki. They could give that a shot, although you get stuck with, again, a lack of team fight. Basically just Puck and Earth Spirit Magnetize for wide AoE control. But sometimes that is enough. So if 5-man Midas is confident, a Razor would annoy the Ursa, making it hard for him to find the last hits. It's fairly tanky as well, given enough time and farm. So it can be your frontliner. And Oracle actually does work really nice with a Razor. You don't have a natural target here for your False Promise. You would like the PL, but that just makes it obvious which the real PL is. So something like a Razor and off, I guess, can maximize that Oracle if they wanted to. They go to Mars instead. Safer pickup. Gives them team fight. Ursa doesn't care for it too much. But you can still kind of take control of the lane. There's still the threat of getting the spear off, then getting the follow-up rolls. Ursa in laning is not the tankiest. So there is some punishment that can come out here from 5-man Midas. Latam defenders, do they stick with the Viper mid? Do they flex it off and take something else mid? And they could still do it with this last pick.
I think they are going to throw the offlane Viper here, and I think you just go for something else mid. The Viper does do pretty well up against the Puck, I guess, and if you are going to run that 1v1 matchup in the mid lane, I don't think it's going to be enough to really stop the Puck. But I don't think anything stops Puck.
No. Just way too strong laning. Still way too good on stats, despite the slight nerfs. And we do see the Night Stalker. This is spicy.
Love it. I think this is one of the heroes that people kind of underestimate in this current meta. It's really darn strong. One of the beauties of this Night Stalker into the PL, you get the Aghanim Scepter, which is actually pretty standard these days, and you have the AoE Void, which can clear through the illusions quite easily, and of course you're going to have the Crippling Fear to silence up the PL, so he won't be able to doppel away. I think I really like this pick, along with the Viper, the Clockwork, the Ursa. You've got this draft that doesn't need much time to be online and ready to go. Once they are online, it's very hard to slow them down.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky to stop that constant aggression from Latam defenders. Not many long cooldowns here for them to keep those fights up. Longest is probably Dark Ascension from the Night Stalker and Lion's Finger early on.
Sure.
But beyond that, your Viper can keep running. Aretas again in the Clockwork. We saw this yesterday. He plays a mean clock as well. So you're going to have to watch out from that from 5-man Midas. Another interesting draft. Nothing too spicy like, say, a Visage this time. But Night Stalker is still rather underrepresented. We've seen it a couple of times only. It is highly effective. Although, to be fair, the only times we see Night Stalker is into, say, Storm. Right? That tends to be the moments we see the offlane Night Stalker picked up. Nothing that big to worry about with the silence. I guess Puck still doesn't enjoy it. We'll see if that same value does come out from Valky, and if the Ag's timing for that Night Stalker is going to be on point. As you mentioned, that's going to be their best way, more than likely based on spells, to deal with the PL illusion spam. So you would want that to be timely here from Valky.
You know, John, I haven't talked about this in a while, but I'm still so scared every day that I cast or play Dota that the Earth Spirit nerf is coming. Well, we're seeing Earth Spirit so often now. And the last time I checked, he's still sitting around a 50% win rate, so it's nothing really to write home about. But you know Ice Frog, he's watching very carefully with Earth Spirit. You know he's got his finger on the nerf button already. He's waiting to go. Just waiting for one little reason. Let's get just one good Earth Spirit performance, John, and it's all over.
Oh goodness, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna be nerfed as hard as say Tinker is right now. Just how dead that hero
Don't
is.
bring up Tinker, John. I don't want to hear that
But
name.
but at the least, you won't have Earth Spirit get trashed like Tinker. So I don't think you'll ever need to worry about that, Mike.
That's because he was already trashed multiple times, John. There's not much more you can do to the poor man.
Poor Earth Spirit. Still, I mean, at least he gets picked up. He's still highly effective.
I still
and
cry
I'm
about the
looking forward-
days that Boulder Smash used to stun, John. Oh man, those were the days. When you could stun
Oh,
a whole
no.
team and then silence them straight after. Oh my goodness.
Oh God, no! Stop it, Mike.
It's beautiful,
That's a
John.
nightmare. No,
was beautiful.
no, bad Mike. Bad Mike. Also, before we start, happy birthday, Dickie. This is the
Happy
last time
birthday.
you're going to get the greeting. Chat, make sure to tag him to wake him up because he's got work later, so keep him up.
He's got work in like 3 hours, doesn't he? It's like 5 a.m. where
Yep.
he is. He's crying about it as well. He said he was working 17 hours on his birthday. Sorry, Dougie. It's your birthday, mate. No sleeping for you, sir. Stay up and
No.
party.
Absolutely not. And there is a party up top once more. 5-man Midas starting off with a tri-lane. Of course, you could just easily TP out Boons, but you've got Boons around the Oracle, is along with Ikester on that Earth Spirit and Monster on the Mars. Aretes is around with Cockahoo on the Ursa, so Clock Ursa lane. Not the most amazing, but once you get some levels up, you trap a couple of heroes in the cogs with, say, a level in Fury Swipes, you can melt through a couple of these heroes.
You can. Fortune's End is going to come out onto Cook-a-Hook, but they haven't got the angle to really go for a gank. And I mean, Eridus is there anyway with the battery assault. Just being a nuisance. I mean, I don't really think there's that much the clock can do in this lane. I suppose once you do have the cogs, like you mentioned, you do have some kill potential with Cook-a-Hook. Apart from that, Eridus, I think he's just going to make sure that Cook-a-Hook just stays safe. As I say that, they are going to go for a battery assault onto Monster, but with all the creeps around, you can't really hold him down, so time for the Clockwork to go and start pulling some creeps.
Yeah, and it's time to equalize that lane. Gives us time to look down mid. You've got Esk on the puck up against Nanana's Viper. So far, a good start for a Viper, and this is the one thing that I guess the puck doesn't quite enjoy. The the damage that the Viper does let out is subs up against here, and Esk is already sort of struggling. So Nanana controlling the lane well. Should be easier for Esk to sneak around to those every single showcase, Mike.
Go on.
You want to see it? Yeah, click on lies right now and go into showcase view. That's a good angle. Into the creep camp. That's a very nice angle.
Into the, like,
See that?
through the trees?
Yeah, through the trees into the creep camp if you go on lies. I don't know, maybe I moved it. You can readjust it onto the camp and it looks really nice.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he's in the trees. It does look very nice. Where's the creeps?
No, just you can rotate the camera, right? You
Cool.
bring it towards the ghost camp, the small camp.
Right.
And it just looks nice. It's a very cinematic view. Look at that. Like a samurai running in to kill some helpless creeps for Bunny.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, right there.
Right? It's a very
right.
nice frame. Very nice
Okay.
frame in that animation. Very nice key pose.
Do we really have nothing else to talk about now? Has it been that long?
It kind of has been, hasn't it? What else is there? We've talked about spiders. We've talked about the Australian heat. Boons having the best internet in this lobby,
What's
apparently.
the chat talking about, John? I don't have Twitch chat on me right now. Could you let us in? Are they complaining about what we're talking about? Sometimes they do.
Yeah. Well, they're reacting to the spring cleaning right now.
Ah,
And a lot of
good.
people seem to want to have had that. Zex is requesting me to say happy birthday once more to Dougie. So happy birthday again, Dougie.
Happy birthday.
And 5 minutes of pause time left for a 5-minute minus. So it's been, what, 15 minutes now? The game's gone on for 11.
Good.
Very good stuff.
On the bright side, we can't pause again. So, I mean, I hope all the players connect back and we get to have a 5v5. But the bright side, after this, there's no pauses. Just got to go, no matter what happens. I don't really see much else to talk about this game. I mean, it's 4-4, 11 minutes. Ursa's going for a Battle Fury. Heel's going for a Midas.
Standard. Yeah. Standard as well for the PL if they want to play a bit more of a farming game. Surprisingly enough, Valky is rushing the BKB instead of the Yags. So actually just wants to have that presence up front without worrying about the silence and control. Our Lion here, who's stuck stunned up for 3 seconds from the last ping, if I recall right, is waiting for a blink. Our Clockwork Force on the hard 5 means that he is not going to hope for any sort of itemization at all, which is fair enough. If you do play pause 5, you'd understand. Just never find that farm.
Well,
You know,
good position 5s do, John.
And they find a farm in
Some
some
people
ways,
like
yeah.
us.
That's true. Very true. I miss... You know what I miss? I miss seeing Warlock in these games. If we saw it like once and I was so hyped about it, then that was it. Like in the DPC, I think.
I feel like every time we see Warlock, though, it generally means a very slow meta. Like, 'cause
Yeah, it's
Warlock kind of
slower.
relies
It's
on that.
slower. Mainly because, yeah, the cooldown on golems is just consistently long. So you only have so much time to fight. And fighting without golem with Warlock is wonky. Like, the slow is nice, but it's not really enough in most cases to take control of a fight. But I love Warlock. I haven't played him in a while as well. I don't know why. It's slow.
Probably because
That's
it's
why.
garbage.
It's not garbage. How dare you?
It is garbage, John. You know it's
What's
garbage.
Warlock's win rate, Hannah? No. I will defend my Warlock. Trends. Oh, I don't have Dota Plus. It expired today. Okay. Forgot to renew. Sorry, Gavin. I'll bring you my tribute later. Don't come to my home. The last time you came, I lost the door. Please.
3 minutes left, according to Dougie. Monster asking to wait. What's your favorite cut of steak, John?
A what? Sorry?
Your favorite cut of steak?
Favorite cut of steak.
Hmm.
I actually like
Do you
like
eat
you
steak?
mean like sirloin? Yeah, I eat steak. I just don't I don't go to steak places and order a cut. You know,
Right.
like I tend to just order the cheap stuff. So
Oh.
I'm not that refined. I guess ribeye. Ribeye is
Ribeye
nice.
good.
If I can
Yeah.
Ribeye is good. I do enjoy I have had like low grade wagyu. That is very nice stuff.
Have you had the
Very good
high
stuff.
grade stuff in Japan? Because I know you went to Japan.
No. Oh I did have wagyu out there, but I don't know what grade it was. Just generically wagyu. Could have been lower grade stuff. It is really nice.
What
The
was the
marbling.
price range like? Because if you're talking about the high grade stuff, you're looking to pay very, very expensive prices.
Yeah, nah, definitely not high grade stuff. So I can tell you that off the bat.
When I went to Japan a long time ago, I had one of those Wagyu beefs that they make where they literally massage the cow and feed
Oh,
it,
yeah.
you know, olive leaves and stuff like that. And it cost like, I think it was like around $250 US for a piece of steak.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. But I've got to tell you, once you have a steak like that, every other steak just tastes terrible to you. Like, it just tastes like garbage, no matter what steak it is. So I wouldn't recommend doing it for that matter if you do enjoy eating a lot of steak. Because every other piece of steak will just taste like really bad after eating one of those.
Yeah, it's a case of ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, quite literally.
So, yeah, just ignore it. Pretend it's not there. Have a slice of regular ribeye instead, or a T-bone steak. Those are nice. And that is the cut, isn't it? Like their logo, the cut is like the T-bone.
Yes.
Supposedly, it's a very confusing logo. It still looks like a tongue. Looks like some weird malformed person from a nightmare of a cartoon somewhere.
Yeah. Still a very
But it's a
nice
good
logo,
cut.
though. Shout out to the cut.
Definitely is. Yeah, shout out to them. Speaking
So-
of food,
Yes.
it's lunchtime here.
Mm.
While this game goes on, I've got a big pot of something in the Philippines. You call it sinigang.
Hmm?
Very good stuff, Mike. It's like a, how do I describe it? It's like our savory soup.
Okay.
Because Tom Yang's like sour as well. Not spiced, or not,
That
and
sounds
it's
delicious.
there. How about you, Mike? Okay, you know what? I'm not very familiar with food, besides like say I don't know kangaroo and crocodile and however you cook them.
Well, luckily for me, John, I don't have to answer that question because we're ready to go now. Pause time is over just on time. The Viper connects right in the nick. And there we go. So where were we? Esk is about to die. Burns is going to save his life, and Moonlight is the one to go down as Eridus also dies. Ends up leading to two supports dying on the side of Latam defenders. Five-man Midas able to get something out of that huge pause.
Yeah,
That should
it's,
be enough.
Unfortunate for Latam. They lose their two heroes. They didn't get the finger off. They didn't find that puck pick off. So good saves coming out from five-man Midas. Enough time to respond, of course, as Latam defenders do hold on to a 1K lead. So they're not doing too bad at all, and they're still finding that pressure down mid. Nighttime is going to come up in 3 minutes, so Valky's not going to have as much presence before then, but he has the Dark Ascension.
They have caught out Burns. Nice little kill on the Oracle. It's like Valky's just going to straight rush the BKB here on the Night Stalker, and that's also fair enough. Be able to get active very, very early as S tries to go for the tier 1 deny, but doesn't quite get it. Nana still able to secure that tier 1 mid tower. It's going to be a very dangerous time now for five-man Midas losing that mid tower. Map opens up, and while Lies did get up the Midas now, it gets very dangerous, especially while Dark Ascension is available to use.
Yeah, you don't really want to be caught outside now. You need to get some good wards down to keep that vision game up. They do scout out Monster with a flare. Should be an easy kill if he does get found out here.
Oh, and he does. Aaron is going to run straight into him, gets the cogs off. Nowhere to go. He'll try to drop the arena, but the jump in from Cook-a-Hook. Now Monster's just going to run the other way and try to get out. He'll snipe the courier of the Clockwork. Can he really get out of this? He's going to run towards the right side of the map and run through the tree line where Nana will come in as well, just in case. This is a lot of time being created here by Monster. He'll keep running towards the north and forces out the hook shot as well. And they will finally get the kill. It's all 30 seconds used up though.
Yeah, just a lot of time being bought out. And of course, with hook shot down, it's a bit of a window where you don't have to worry about the clockwork. You get a rotation out here. Latam defenders tying it up 6-6. I do say, though, it has been a bit of a slow game for Moonlight. Still waiting for that blink out. We need to see the finger fly out. They did try that one time in the triangle before the pause. Didn't pay off. I think they need to try again. When you have a line, you have to play around those initial fingers very well. And if you don't, it does feel like you miss out on a major power spike in the hero.
Oh, Valky, maybe even too far forward on that Night Stalker. Dream Call is available to use. Eggster going to roll right in with the kickback and the spear. They still haven't killed off the Night Stalker though. He is alive and well. He'll break the coil and he will survive as he backs out and maybe just comes back in. But the Magnetite's causing a lot of problems. But a nice Earth Spike there from the Lion to hold them back. And Valky, throughout all those spells, is still alive.
It's the value of that early Hood of Defiance on him. So tanky, very hard to rip through. And just imagine what happens when he does have that BKB. You won't do any damage to him at all beyond the right clicks. So we're going to have to watch that timing here from Latam defenders. There is a bit of a timing here on the side of 5-man Midas. Yule's up on Monster. So he can set up for the Yule Spear now. See if they find that opening as Latam is also smoked up.
And that they are. Boons, his smoke breaks. Rocket Flare should make it obvious that they are coming into the triangle, but lies. He ran back for the large cap, and it may cost him as the hookshot and crippling fear is going to be there into the hex and the finger. Just make sure the PL dies. They found another. Yules into the spear there on the Night Stalker, but he is just so darn tanky. They aren't even going to bother trying to go on Valky.
And they get the big pick-off they want. With that smoke, Latam defender is going to be very happy with that. They also have stalled out long enough that the Battle Fury's up in Cook-a-Hook, and that was a very well-timed Dark Ascension. Fades into nighttime. So Valky is still pretty strong, even without that flying vision and movement here.
He's going to go now into Boons, who does get spotted there for a second. I mean, Monster could try to spear away Valky, but I think Valky can just continue the chase. Crippling Fear will come out just in case. Arena is going to be dropped. They might try and turn this one around, but Boons, False Promise will be there. He buys more time as Aridus is going to get low, and now the Dream Coil does come in. They get the clockwork, but can they kill off the Night Stalker? It looks like they just may, and they do get him. But Nana still going on to Monster. Fate's Edict going to block off a lot of that magic damage, but Cook-a-Hook is going to Earth Shock his way in and does secure the kill on the Mars. All things being said and done, not actually too bad for 5-man Midas.
Yeah, they do manage to win that trade out 2 for 3 coming out. Then they managed to force a lot of spells out, so they don't need to worry about Dark Ascension still because that was expended earlier on. Finger is a really long cooldown, although that was the blink for Moonlight coming in. So they do have a way to gap close, catch out something like Esk's Puck, and keep him in check. Even the PL, if he is out without any illusions available, it's going to be very easy to target down and isolate. So they're going to have to be very cautious now with the line having that blink up. Lies, though, is just keeping his head down, keeping that farm up. Has his Yasha, and is building into the diffusal. So Lies should be ready to go once that diffusal is up. And the Ursa's not going to have fun with that. An Ursa with no mana is an Ursa stuck in a very bad spot. And that is going to be easy enough to manage here from 5-man Midas.
Yeah, he's got the Blink Dagger coming out very soon though, Cook-a-Hook. Even the Bullwhip going to help out. Dark Ascension, once again, they aren't trying to go in onto that Mars. They've lost Boons already. Arena's going to be dropped, but it's only caught out the line as Valky goes right into the back lines after that PL, but Lies looks to be healthy for now. Meanwhile, Monster is not really that healthy, and Valky will be able to kill him off. They chase down Esk. He'll be able to orb away. Meanwhile, Aridus still chasing, trying to find another target. They were looking for the PL, but they do get an illusion. I believe that was a 1 for 2. Buyback was committed there by Boons. Cook-a-Hook just going to go straight for the Roshan pit. And they know without the Mars Arena, there's not really any fighting in this Roshan pit for the Radiant.
Yeah, it's a difficult spot for them to fight into. The Puck can try to steal, and so can the Earth Spirit. They just need to find an angle, but there's a lot here.
Oh, that roll in. Eggster probably wanted to cancel that off, but you can't. He's gone. Nice easy kill, and now Valky just wants to go for more. Monster is going to try and run. Hook shot, not going to be there. Aridus was kind of out of range anyway. I'll just go for that tier 1 top tower. Nice and easy for Latam defenders.
Yeah, they take the safe objective. They've got the second life up now in Cookahoo. They've also got the blink in the Ursa, so they can kind of gap close themselves, get the follow-up damage with the Ursa, and start to build off that way. There's still a lot of space given out here to Lies. Is just lacking the recipe now for the Diffusal Blade, so about 450 gold off to finish it up. And once you do have that Diffusal again, it's going to be a hard time for the Ursa. You have to watch yourself, get as much as you can before that item's up. And once the Diffusal's up for Latam defenders, they need to be disciplined enough to just try and isolate that PL, which is easier said than done.
Valky gonna just rush up to the high ground again. This is gonna be very dangerous here. 4-5-man Midas, but they use up Valky still. Eggstar gonna roll out, but Boons is not gonna be so lucky. In fact, they got the Hex off mid-roll for the Earth Spirit as well. And Cookahoo gonna get a nice easy double kill. That's another tower to go down now. They are really starting to roll over this side of 5-man Midas. I mean, yeah, you look at Lies and he's still getting some farm up. You just gotta ask yourself how long before he's ready to fight with the team. They're getting picked apart. Monster in his cogs. Crippling Fear is gonna be there onto the puck with the finger out, and they do secure Esk. Monster, he's still not out of the woods either. So you do see Cookahoo right with the blink in and the Earth Shock. Eridas doesn't have a hook. So he'll be able to walk out, but they found the more valuable target in the puck anyway.
Yeah, and they managed to take the outpost right before the timer hit 20, so they got all the EXP as well. Coming out there on the Dart side, just a nice little boon there for the Latam defenders. And
Nice
they
blink.
catch one more.
That's a great blink in from Cookahoo, just blocking the roll, and it is going to be another one. BKB is
More?
going to come up very soon. Yules is there from Monster into the spear, but there's going to be no follow-up anyway. The Peel was around, but the Glimmer Cape is available on the clock, and now Cookahoo, he's very far forward, but he's going to just blink back the other way, and he's actually going to get away with this. Esk is not going to pop the Dream Coil, as the Enrage was still available. That's it. Down to the bot tier 2.
Yeah, just slow and steady, getting the split push going, just leaving Nana alone to get that done. They are going to be finding these objectives without contestation, unfortunately, as 5-man Midas is grouped up elsewhere. They are smoked up. I believe that smoke might have been scouted out by the Sword up on the high ground. So there should be some awareness here from Latam defenders that something's up.
Well, at least they're fighting into a Night Stalker without Nighttime nor Dark Ascension. Counter smoke right in front. They're going to start the fight anyway. Monster, Arena, straight onto the clock, or rather Lion, just trying to blow him up. He's still alive though, but does finally go down. Everyone else is so far alive, but Nana kills off Monster on the Mars with his insane Viper range. He has a growth bow up. Still Cookahoo. He's going to go down. Loses the Aegis. That'll be enough. Esk? That's a very risky play. Trying to bait them forward, but now Valky with the Dark Ascension just turns back around, and I'm not sure what that one was about. Maybe a bit of a misclick. You just lost your mid-puck for really no reason.
Yeah, it's a pretty big win for Latam defenders. They did have to pop the Dark Ascension for that. Not a big deal at all. They get to reset for free, and any further chase out is blocked, although Ikester might find one.
Eridas, I don't think he's going to mind too much if he dies on the +5 clock. And Eggstar, gotta be careful not to go too far, but he does kick back the clockwork. He'll accept the fact that he's dead. Again, not really too big of a deal, though. There's not really much that's been lost there.
Yeah, it's not the biggest kill to take. They are buying some space out for PL to keep farming up. Lies does have the SNY now on top of that Diffusal, so he can be a bit more durable up front, rushing the Heart next into that Ag's Shard. So he's going to have the Spirit Lance bouncing around again. And I wonder if he's going to go back. What's actually Lies who went for that build that we saw with the Aether Lens into Octarine? Could have been him as well.
It may have been. It doesn't seem so bad once you hit that level 25 mark, having that Doppelganger CD so much lower, but see what he does want. I mean, it feels like it will pay off up against the Ursa, assuming you don't get caught by an Abyssal Blade before that. And speaking of Abyssal Blades, of course, Hook is now farming one up on the Ursa. Going to be a scary time. In all fairness as well, I don't really know if you want the Octarine PL this game, right? Because you have the Crippling Fear on Valky. So if he's not going to go for a BKB, is there really a point in going the Octarine core? Not 100% sure on that. Probably not.
It's really tricky for the PL to really maximize it. I think just going for this heart build first can maybe help him test the waters and see if he's going to need that additional dodge on top of the tankiness. There's still an 8k lead here in Latam defenders though, so despite the fact that Lice is finding all this farm, the rest of his cores are not. Esk has slowed down on the puck, travels, Witchblade, 2 null talismans, and a blink queued up now. So no divine build up here for Esk. We're not going to see the triple divine build on the puck, which is mildly disappointing, but it is more sensible for Esk to go for this, and he does have his blink up, so easier positioning now for the puck. Could be a bit slippery to catch out, and Latam defenders will have to watch that new angle of approach now coming out from 5-man Midas.
Absolutely. Both sides just kind of avoiding each other for now. I mean, once Lias has his heart up, he is going to be a tanky boy. They are going to allow that mid-tier 2-tower to go down here to Latam defenders. They're not really going to risk trying to fight this one out, even if it's near their base. Problem is, you've got another 5 minutes of nighttime now. And that gives a lot of time for 5-man Midas to continue just getting objectives, or just going for the Roshan when it does spawn up. And I think eventually they might have enough time to try and pressure high ground.
Yeah, they've got an opening here. They've got this fresh BKB still riding on Valky, and they've got the blink now on the Night Stalker as well. So he can just blink in with a Crippling Fear, get some instant silences off, and that is going to be hard to play into for Latam defenders. They don't, for 5-man Midas, they don't have any sort of BKBs up just yet. They do bail out at the right time. It's only Monster left behind, but he does have a TP this time around, so he shouldn't be under as much duress as he was last time.
Very importantly as well, he does have enough gold for the Blink Dagger on that Mars. The question is, does he bother going for that, or would he rather go for the BKB? Looking for the where they're going, and yeah, it's up top lane, Esk. Was wondering why I heard the Dark Ascension. Extra, meanwhile, may be caught here as Moonlight does blink towards the right side to get the Hex off. Into the Earth Spike, but they need a way to block the roll. Extra trying to go for the silence, does completely whiff it. Does get the magnetize, and he's going to try and back off as Hook now trying to join in. Might get there to block the roll. Still Valky moving in now with his BKB onto Lies. Much bigger target if they could get it. Still Doppel. Going to turn back around onto Valky. Crippling Fear was there, but they actually found the right target. Moonlight. It's a very nice Hex off on that Lion. And that is a PO without buyback. So high ground it is.
Yeah, this is a scary time for the side of 5-man Midas. The creep wave is still coming in. So there's a little bit of a window, but not much. Double damage should fade by the time the creep wave is here though, so you're not going to have to contend with the Ursa absolutely ripping through those objectives as fast. There's still a lot to be scared of here.
They do a fair bit of damage, and he doesn't have the Aegis. He almost dies, especially to that Witch's Blade damage from the puck. Roshan is up though. So it was another early respawn here. Latam defenders will go and have a look, see if they can find it. Turns out it's there. So you don't get much high ground damage, but you get the Aegis. That should be a cheese as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick Roche, of course, as it is in Ursa. There are still angles for 5-man Midas to approach, but they don't have vision around the pit, so it doesn't look like they're aware. They don't have the scan up as well. And should go for free. Aegis and Cheese going the way of Latam defenders. Cheese riding on Nana, of course, Aegis on Kukahook. Does mean that it's harder to deal with the Ursa. They have enough to burst through him once. I don't know if they have enough to burst through him twice with a BKB.
Egg start, silence up. Let's get the 4-star, but an immediate blink from Valky straight onto the Oracle. Trying to get down this Oracle to make sure there's no support plays. Meanwhile, towards the north, it looks like they aren't going to be able to catch anyone else. Unless hook shot barely misses out on Monster. But they got the Oracle. No, they're not done.
TPs.
Monster still being chased down here by Valky and Moonlight. They're gonna get him.
Yeah, it's a nice pickup to get. 2 big heroes taken out. Without the Oracle, you're in a bit of an awkward spot but in terms of your cores. They are trying to hunt down Lies.
Hook gonna jump in, clear out some illusions, but is gonna lose all his mana and a lot of HP there by Esper.
Bash.
Bash out.
Oh,
First hit bash. Hook will give him the tip on top just to let him know about it. Valky now gonna go back in after the Oracle and kills off Boons again. Oh boy. First hit bash never feels good.
no. Really good hits coming out from Cook, and the follow-up coming out here from Moonlight was on point, getting the finger off on a big target. That does mean they could maybe set up for high ground. Cook is not very healthy unless they want to risk popping that Aegis now. It looks like they will just go for the reset. Maybe wait out this MKB that Cook is preemptively building, expecting the Butterfly to be next on the PL. So that could be something that they just kind of sit back, relax, wait for the farm to come in. They've also got some more tier 3 items that they haven't found. So they could just farm these camps until they get every single last piece first.
I mean, even though it's a PL they're up against, they don't seem to be intimidated whatsoever by it. Just judging by how they're playing, it doesn't seem like they really care at all, and I can't quite blame them. Monster gets a use off on Hook, but understands he can't really kill him twice. It's about that time as well to farm up some tier 3 items. You already see Hook sitting there with the Elven Tunic, which is going to be very nice. That evasion up against the PL. Going to pay off quite nicely here for him.
Yeah. It allows him to tank through a couple more of those hits, gives him more attacks as well, go down bot.
Dark Ascension, he's going in all by himself. Spear is going to land. Valky not going to be able to really abuse that ulti this time. Nice back away from 5-man Midas. That's the thing, you get 1 kill on a hero without buyback, and you're pretty much guaranteed to go high ground if you are Latam defenders. You'll be very wary of this Night Stalker for now.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. At the least, now that the Dark Ascension fades, it is daytime, so Valky isn't as scary. The cooldown on Dark Ascension is fairly long as well, so you're gonna have to wait for it. It stays pretty long on cooldown until level 25, although there is a bit of a smoke movement out here from 5-man Midas.
They can't stay in their base forever. Try and make something happen. Arena is going to be nice, but Valky just pops the BKB and walks away. Was his 8-second charge. Things said and done, not too bad. They do at least get a BKB charge out of him, but that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, I suppose. Latam defenders, they're getting very close to the Abyssal Blade now on Hook. That should be Q to try again for that high ground.
Yeah, they only have a minute left in the Aegis, so they have to move fast. But with that additional Abyssal, should be easier for Hook to get those hits in, to get that control off. They just need to start committing, because if they wait too long, they're going to have to wait for the next Aegis instead, and that could cause some issues. Nice pickup in the DD there by Ikester, denying that opportunity away from the side of Latam defenders, but they didn't have a ward around the area, so they probably weren't aware it was up there anyway.
They aren't going to make the play for the high ground. Aegis will expire very, very soon. Looks like they've just accepted that. Unfortunately for Lies, he's going to lose his Vitality booster, which he needs to get for the Abyssal Blade. Dream Coil going to be committed just on the line, but they have speed him up and they do roll back in. But Nana doing so much damage to this Mars. They need to back out. They can't kill Moonlight. They're going to lose 2 here. Even Valky trying to chase down Esk, and now the Abyssal Blade comes out from Hook, locking down the puck. The only man left is going to be Lies on the PL. You've got 2 buybacks available, but they may need to commit him here. And even then, I don't know if it's going to be enough to save this Rax.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough. They don't have Dream Coil anyway if they buy back in the puck. It lines up quite nicely with a respawn timer, so they might as well just sit through this one, except that they will lose at least 1 Rax. They probably don't want to give 2 away, but again, without Dream Coil up, it's going to be harder to follow up there.
That'll be enough though. Mid-Rax taken. No need to overextend. You've also got an Abyssal coming out on Valky very soon. So you're going to have double Abyssal up on Latam defenders. And it's going to make this PL's life and Puck's life that much harder. Even once Lies has his own Abyssal up, you question how effective he's going to be able to be. It just seems like there's so much control and so many ways to get through the illusions. One Hex, and you're basically just screwed.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. With all that control, just so much value from Lion having this blink. Moonlight can really set up for the team quite nicely. They do manage to at least take back their outpost. There's still a good 6 minutes until the next distribution of EXP though. So it's going to be a while until that does take effect. They at least have a TP point in their jungle. If they want to fight around that area, have to be cautious as it's about half a minute away until nighttime. Although
Valky, nice pick up. They can finish him off. He does have a BKB. Hex is out on the Puck. Still a lot of damage coming out onto Valky, but he does BKB up into the Dark Ascension, straight onto the Oracle and Boons. He can't get away from this. He'll die once again onto the Mars, and now the Puck. And they just wipe them. It's taking so long to kill Valky, even through all these stuns. They just don't have the damage without the PL. And Lies, he's just not willing to join the team right now. He needs more farm.
yeah, he's just using this as space for himself, which, to be fair, is starting to feel a bit greedy considering how deep 5-man Midas are committing for these pickoffs. If he just shows up, I think they have got a better chance. And I mean, there's only so much map space he has on hand right now to farm up anyway. Still, with those kills, Latam defenders can start to look to get it pushed elsewhere as well if they want to. Oh, good control, Moonlight.
Oh, Moonlight with the Hex. They even realize it's the real PL. Well, now they must. The hook shot not going to land in time. Still the Abyssal back onto the Oracle. They get the Boons Oracle once again. Just making sure there is no chance of a false promise. Thing is, they could have killed the PL, but it's like they just didn't believe they actually had the right one. There's the tip out. I think they realized that as well, but now Hook, he's in trouble. He's going to back out with the Enrage. They are going to lose Aridus, though. The Ursa just going to run away as Nana will just continue to attack away on the Viper. Now, Valky just going to jump in again after Boons on that Oracle, just wanting to burst him down, and he's going to be able to get him. Valky has been left behind and should just die here. Surely. He'll just try and waste some time, but eventually they'll get him.
Yeah, it's still a pretty big win there for Latam defenders. They force some buybacks to get some kills. On top of that, they're still ready to go if they want to. Whereas there's no arena for now coming out from Monster, about half a minute for that.
Oh,
and
another
Puck is
Hex.
pretty far away.
They've caught out Lies with that Hex. Leipnir there as well from Nana. This all going to be out onto the Mars with the finger there from Moonlight. He has buyback though. Tier 3 tower, it goes down to the creep wave, and the rest of the side of Latam defenders, they're just out of there. They're not willing to risk anything without their Night Stalker and the Clockwork.
Yeah, and they're just playing this very well planned out. 14 to 36, 29k lead for Latam defenders. They haven't been dropping their big heroes, so Hook has been staying alive. Nana has been staying alive as well. 9-0 on the Viper, and 10-1 on the Ursa. So the right heroes are getting protected. It's only Valky really throwing his body out on that Night Stalker, but doesn't matter too much. He's only died twice as well. Right now, what 5-man Midas need to do is play a really good high ground defense. Play with a Dream Coil. We haven't seen the most impactful False Promise here as well from Boons. Like, he's not been able to get it off. No.
Yeah, they've caught Exter again. It's very hard though, right? Because every time the Oracle does show, you see the blink in from Valky and just the crippling fear to make sure the Oracle cannot survive. It's not really like you have an Aether Lens or anything to be able to really stand back and ensure you can get the False Promise. The best he has right now is his Keen Optic, and at level 15, he'll be able to get a cast range talent, which would help, but it's a matter of whether he can actually get the XP to get to level 15.
Yeah, he's a long way off from that level point. Still level 12 on the Oracle. If he stays alive for a couple of these kills, that could give him the injection he needs, but it's a long way off. And as you mentioned, he is the primary target for Latam defenders off lane and supports to find. Still time here to farm those tier 4 items now. And Latam Defenders does find all of theirs. Not quite the easy access into the jungle here for the side of 5-man Midas, so they've kind of stalled out with just 3 out of 4 of their tier 3 items. Do need some space to get their own neutrals up and running here.
Into the Roshan pit. Has already been started here. Actually getting bashed quite a few times there by Roshan. Monster will lose his courier. Dream Coil going to be in. Monster now with the arena as well. Hook going to move in, or maybe he just goes after the Roshan. Not looking great here for the Dire. They'll lose one in the form of the Clockwork, but they have to buy back from the puck. Now the PL looking like he's in danger, trying to find a way out, but the false promise was there from Boons this time. Monster does go down on the Mars, but he's going to buy back. PL does dive through the false promise, and Boons is also going to go down along with his carry. Now, it looks like we're about to see a dieback and a GG. Well played. Latam Defenders do manage to make it work for game number 2. That'll be a 2-0 victory for this Dire end.
Yeah, really well played from Latam Defenders. Rather unfortunate, disconnected earlier on, but very kind of 5-man Midas to give them some of that pause time. They do reconnect in time and just clean up the game. 15-43, 38k net worth lead coming out here for Latam Defenders. 5-man Midas. It looked like they had some opportunities earlier on. They were getting some good movement out with Eichster, but they couldn't manage to really maximize this Oracle pick. And we mentioned it from the draft, right? The Oracle was out there. PL Oracle, it's not the most natural combination, so the false promises weren't really as impactful when they even came out, because Latam Defenders were always throwing their bodies out to ensure Boons could not enable any of his cores.
Yeah, certainly. So just great play here from Latam Defenders. 5-man Midas back to the drawing board, and I'm sure we'll see them again very, very soon. Maybe even tomorrow. I'm not 100% sure of the schedule yet, but you never know when they'll be able to pull off their victory. Still, John, with that, that is it for tonight. Bit of a long day today, but it is over now. Congrats to all the teams that did get a 2-0 victory, and of course we had the 2 first series ending up in a draw. And I'd say a rather exciting day, John. Some very good Dota happening.
Yeah, it's a very close matchup. This is one of the first days, of course, one of the first few days of the Pro Series, and we did get to see, upper div winners here, lower div middle, lower div promotees here, and upper div relegated teams here. So it was a good cross-regional showdown, and I think the results are starting to look really nice here. A lot of teams just so competitive. The Americas are really one of the tighter regions in Dota right now.
Certainly. Of course, with that, John, we are going to head off. Of course, people are waiting to leave. We have the birthday boy. Happy birthday, Dougie. Enjoy your...
Happy birthday, Dougie.
Enjoy the rest of your birthday. With that, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. Thank you, everyone, for your patience today through all the pauses. And of course, we'll see you back again tomorrow for some more great BTS Pro Series action. See you then.